This is Founder Leyrune, and I am here with a magnificent group of graduates. I have Mez. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone.
Mez, describe roughly who you're playing, just real basics.
I'm playing a male grown wizard
Okay,
that specialises in conjuring.
okay. Mizram.
Hi everyone, I'm playing a halfling male rogue, and I'm looking forward to getting to backstab a couple of people.
Our hoops.
Hey everyone, I'm playing a half elven ranger, Beastmaster with his pet boar.
Rilvist.
I'm Rilvis. I'm playing a Tabaxi bard who's a hopeless romantic.
All right. So we're going to get started here shortly. All of these players have gone through courses in FGC. They've all graduated in one form or another. They've been active in our community, and they signed up to play the Turtle Sphere teaser, which we're going about to test out right now. So this module is basically in its beginning stages, and we're testing this out so that we can check for balance. And we've already found some things that we need to touch up. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. There's some credits due out there. We have DM Drake and Matacure for helping Lady Shel with this module and testing it and giving her feedback. Shehab has contributed to this as well. She's starting to make her own stuff on the DM's Guild. Rob Tui, definitely shout out to him. He's one of our partners and has done all the coding for the effects coding, and we'll be providing links to some of these people later on throughout the chat. So shout out to Rob for the coding effects. Devin Knight, he did a lot of the artwork for tokens that are going to be used today. Chris, the map hatter, we are not using his maps, but we are using his concept for his store, and Forgotten Adventures as well. And the maps today were made by our community member Mopsy. So if you guys have any commissions or any ideas, just hit them up in our Discord, which is at Fantasy Grounds College. And also, not the least not to mention, is Lady Shel, the author of this module, in which she spent a lot of time and frustration working this out. This is her first attempt at creating her own homebrew module, which loosely takes place in Chult or any jungle setting that you want to use it in. And again, I am Founder Leyrune. I'm going to DM this session. Things are not going to be perfect. We are going to run across some, little things here and there that we need to fix. But for the most part, we're here to have fun, to support Lady Shel and our community, and to test the play balance of the module. So without further ado, I think we'll get started. Is there any final last words that any of our guests would like to say or imply?
Nope.
Okay. So
Have
we are
fun.
gonna. All right. So we're gonna get started. Um, Turtle Sphere takes place near a town in Lozano, and this is assuming that all of you have traveled together at one point or another, and as a matter of fact, you've worked together. So um, hopefully, throughout play, as you get familiar with each other, that'll become more and more cohesive and a little bit. What do you want to call it? When you get your chemistry. That takes time usually to develop, so hopefully it doesn't put too much pressure on you guys to know each other. But I'm hoping that you'll interact and have fun and kind of at least have fun, make believing that you know each other. So, and you guys have talked to each other in the community, so you're not total stranger. And yes, a rapport is basically what I'm looking for. So thank you, the Bard. Now we're going to start off in the town of Lozano. And basically, you guys are coming back from another job that you had previously performed. And the thing about this module is that it can kind of go a lot of different directions. So it is a little bit sandboxy, and it does have a lot of elements that could easily get kind of shuffled in different orders. So I'll try my best to make it as linear as possible, but at the same time, I don't want to railroad everybody. So if that's not an issue or if that's cool with you guys, I think we're going to get started here.
Did you say the town was named Lasagna?
Lozano. Lozano is Lozano.
Ah, okay.
Lozano.
Sanya.
Lasagna. So we are playing again Mystery of the Turtle Sphere, a 5e mini adventure from Lady Shel. So we are going to get started. So in the preamble, you guys are basically heading back to town, and you guys have just come back from a adventure together. So it's just a matter of you guys collecting your pay and kind of getting acquainted with each other out of game. So that's something we hopefully will establish a little bit. So let me see. I'm going to start the adventure. I have all of you on the combat tracker. Hopefully, all of you have your innate racial abilities or class abilities. So I think the halfling might have a couple, and Tabaxi might have a couple. So these would be your racial traits. So if you have any racial traits that come into play, you want to make sure that those are enabled before we start. And then we'll also have a little intermission, maybe like 5-minute intermission. So if you guys need to get up and use the restroom or something like that. So we will plan that around 11:30 or an hour and a half from now. Is that fair?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So we're going to get started. So here we go. I'm going to put some text in the chat, and it says, "You are a group of adventurers. Whether you were born in Chult or you migrated here and have now become a resident, you have all spent enough time here to know your way around and have experienced with the elements, which would stagger those not used to the heat, insects, random dinosaurs, and the like. None of this phases you. Everyone in the group has worked together at Laszlo's Detective Agency here in Lozano for several years, and you have been on many adventures together, finding missing persons, locating husbands from paying their ex-wives alimony, and other things that we won't speak about now.
Trash.
You all agree to meet at the detective agency, and you pick up your paycheck from your last job. Since everyone is in town, you should be nice, and it would be nice to share some breakfast together at Pickled Pete's Inn and Tavern. So I'm going to share the map of Lozano with you. So go ahead and take a moment to get that resized on your screens. And while you're doing that, I'm going to drag you onto the map. So when I'm dragging you guys onto the map, you guys are walking down this sidewalk together. And I'm going to lock the tokens. Okay, so all of you are in town, and you see those green pins that are around. Those are different buildings. So you have just got back from the detective agency, and you are heading over towards the Pickle Pete's Inn and Tavern, which is on the top right corner of the map. Okay. And while we're here, since we're not, so we don't lessen the amount of talking over each other, I would like all of you to roll initiative just so we have an order of things. So in the chat window, go ahead and roll initiative. Okay. All right. So starting off first, we have the Dwarf Paladin. This is played by Roasted Beans. So what would you like to do? You guys just got back from a job. You're thinking about getting breakfast over at Pickled Pete's Inn and Tavern. Would you like to say anything or move or maybe even chat with one of your fellows or
I'm gonna turn to this little gnome next to me
Mhm.
and say, "So, what'd you think about that job, Meg?
So Mez, are you
That
there?
Yes, I'm sorry.
what'd you think about that job?"
I think it went well. Deserved what's coming to him.
I love the way you're underestimated.
Okay.
They always do. Never suspect the short ones.
And then I'm gonna slap the cute little boar on his rump in a very nice way.
Thump. Okay, so you smack the little guy in the butt. He kind of turns at you, like almost as if he's gonna attack you, but then he kind of eases up once he realizes it's you. So you must be fairly familiar with him. Okay, so Ranger, this is played by our hoops in our community. So we have a half elf ranger here. So what would you like to say or do?
Yeah, I think we should head on over to the inn.
Okay.
Um, get some breakfast.
Okay.
Bristles. We're gonna check and see if he stopped serving bacon like we told him to.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and trace your route, the direction you want to go.
I grimace.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Now we're gonna go to the halfling rogue, the hamster.
I just basically skip on by in a daydream, drawling one, thinking about food.
Okay. Do you want to move or anything, or
Yes, I do, please.
okay? And since we're not in combat, you can move through your players, but when we are in combat, it's going to count as difficult terrain, so you'll basically lose 5 feet of movement. The Tabaxi Bard is leading the group. What would you like to do or say?
I just wonder why I always have to spend so many of our missions hanging from the ceiling from my claws. I'm starting to chip my nails. But I'm really looking forward to some fried mice fingers at Pickle Pete's. Let's hurry.
All right. Okay, Mez. So,
I just want to yell to the group to slow down a bit. I can't travel that far with short legs.
all right. The boar kind of gets distracted and he ends up going into one of the yards and he just kind of starts grazing and kind of pushing his face into the grass and kind of doing what animals like to do. So he's doing his business. Yeah, rooting around is a good way to put it. So he's gonna stay out here. He's pretty well trained, so he won't take off. He's just gonna hang out in the city. He's kind of a known staple, uh, and that was no pun intended, by the way.
And whose boar is this?
This boar belongs to the half elf. This is his pet. He's more
Ah.
domesticated than wild.
Roops, you better get your poop bags out here when he's done.
That's fertilizer. It's good for the lawn.
Yeah.
This
I
is
don't
true.
I don't know if he defecates here, but he might. Okay.
I say, Dr. Doolittle, could you talk to your animal friend and get him to come along? I'm hungry.
He'll be fine where he is. You know how much money we bring in on the truffles that he finds?
All right.
Good point.
So, when you guys basically when you guys get to Pickled Pete's, the agency is right across the street, or it's close. So it's basically right in front of the Tabaxi. So you're heading towards the agency right now to pick up your paycheck. So Samuel Laszlo's detective agency is basically where you work. The entry room has a bulletin board on the right side as you enter, with a large counter at the back of the room. On the left wall are wanted posters of known criminals in Chult. There are several leafy green plants adding to the atmosphere. Behind the counter is your boss, Samuel Laszlo. Samuel is a tall half-elf. He's about 50 years of age or so, and you know that he has had a past of adventuring in his youth prior to opening the detective agency. So you guys are coming in here to get your paychecks. So I'm going to distribute to all of you a parcel, and you guys can grab this parcel, and I will share it with you. And all you have to do is drag the parcel to your inventory slot. So go to your your tab where it says inventory, and you drag the parcel, and that's your paycheck. And it should add the coins automatically to your character sheet under treasure.
Now, which one is the icon for the parcel?
You should have a parcel that says Laszlo's Detective Agency Paycheck. And there is a
Yeah.
pin there. And all you have to do is drag that pin into your inventory, and it will automatically disperse the coins into your treasure.
Roger.
Okay? So if you look
Thank
at your...
you, Laszlo.
He kind of smiles and said, "Great job as always. Come back later after you've, basically replenished yourselves." Are you guys heading over to Pickled Pete's?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
As you guys head out, you notice in the announcement boards, and I'm going to share this with you. So there are some announcements in the office there. And this is the different jobs that are available right now. They're advertisements for different sorts of paid money quests. So these are jobs that you can take if you want another round of work. So you feel free to open those up and read those. And if any of those sound interesting to you, you may come back and talk to Laszlo about that. So anyone care to share any of the things you might be interested in, or would you guys just read them and keep it to yourself and head over to the bar?
Hey,
So I'm
hey,
like,
real boss.
Yes.
This lost and found too says found silver dagger engraved with the letters JM. Will pay 50 gold to anyone who finds it and returns it to me. Is that confusing? Or is that just me?
Yeah,
That
it
is
should
a
say
little.
lost.
I think this person lost it.
Yeah.
50 gold's pretty nice.
just saying that, but if you look at the next Lost and Found, I'm liking the idea of looking for a dinosaur.
Interesting. So
You
Laszlo,
adventurous thing, you.
anybody else have anything to say? Okay.
I do whisper to Laszlo about that tabaxian catnip you promised me as a bonus.
You asked that of Laszlo?
Yes, I whisper it to him because that
Okay.
was part of our deal.
He looks kind of off put, like he kind of gives you a dirty look, like, not here. We don't discuss that here.
Okay.
And then he looks the rest of you and says, "Have a good day, y'all." As if you didn't hear, but maybe you did. So if you guys leave the detective agency, um, you can hear some kind of ruckus going on as you're heading across the way to Pickle Pete's Tavern. So some days it just seems like everything is against you. You're just about to enter the bar when a pair of farmers come running down the street shouting and waving their arms. They're coming from the south. It looks like a couple, and Maggie Brown, a woman you've met before, that provides Lozano with very nice produce and such. She says, "Help, help, we need your help. There's a large group of lizards. They're devouring our crops. We are the largest food supplier for the town, and if we can't stop this attack, this town will suffer. Will you help us take care of these lizards?" So just as you're getting ready to spend some of your money and go into the inn, these farmers come up and they're pleading for your help. So pockets full, bellies empty, you get this interruption.
Actually, the Tabaxi Bard's eyes light up because he hears lizards, which is a particular delicacy. So I think I can maybe make a little money and get a good meal.
Well, at the very least, we should talk to the lizards.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Show us the way.
Okay, so the two farmers get, up in arms and they're really, really excited. And they start running back towards their farm. So they head south along town, and as you leave the town, you probably travel like another few blocks or so until you reach more of a rural type area. And from there, they take you on a long, dusty road that leads to their really nicely green and, I want to say, well managed and watered section. Now, water's not scarce here, but sometimes it's hard to come by in quantity. So typically they get a lot of rain and mist, but they don't always get like a river or a creek. So there is a channel that has been cut into the ground that supplies the town and the farm with fresh drinking water and a way to irrigate crops outside of the town. So as you arrive at the farm, which is a lot larger than you thought it would be, there's a big red barn, and you can smell the hay that is stacked in the bales inside the barn. The scent is a pleasant one, but it's also followed up by a scent of manure, which follows on any farm that raises livestock as well as crops. So apparently they also raise cattle and stuff for food. Um, so there is pretty much a consensus amongst you that this is one of the main farms that basically provides the town with all of their needs or most of their needs for food to keep the people fed and keep the animals fed and, raise livestock and herbs and things like that. And I think any of you that are more prone to nature would have at least visited the farm once or more, and perhaps you even have traded with the farmers in town. So I'm going to share another map with you. So I'd like you guys to get it sized up. It's a pretty good sized map, so just kind of warn you ahead of time. So you guys can shrink it to where you need it size-wise. And I will put you on the map shortly. Okay. So here all of you go. So you guys are coming from the north, and you're in this town. And you notice a multiple lizards feeding on the crops that are basically there's small wooden fences and a really small stone wall that's like a foot high with fencing kind of cemented in around it. And it looks like the fencing is kind of a wood variety from the jungle. and there's the big red barn to the south. And these lizard things are, they're kind of crazy looking. They're all multicolored. You see some blue ones and orange ones and purple ones. They're running all over the place, and they're really, really creating a menace to the farm, uh, especially the crops. So they're really, they're really a nuisance basically, and they've all been like looks like that you see evidence of them have chewed up some of the plants, and they are kind of I guess they would kind of make the animals or livestock uneasy had they been out in the pastures. But for right now, they seem to be just attacking the crops. So they're all inside those pens, and they're chewing up all of the leaves and eating the vegetables. And it's been rumored that these lizards have been coming around Lozano more and more. So they're kind of frequenting the areas where there's civilization more, and that could have to do with civilization encroaching on nature. But in the jungles of Cholt, it's kind of the other way around. The jungles kind of encroach on civilization. So instead of the towns encroaching, so it basically just verifies and puts forward that the balance between nature and the balance between civilization has not been, hasn't been established very well. So I would like one of you or all of you to roll a perception check, please.
Make sure in the tower.
Yes. Yes, so all of you have been kind of cautious when you approach because you know that there's some sort of trouble. And as you've come up to this farm, you notice a variety of these lizards chewing up different things in the property. So they're pretty good size. I want to say they're about the size of a small dog, and they're just kind of ravaging through all of the different vegetables and crops. So I'd like all of you to please roll initiative because there's really no surprise or anything. And the lizards are really haphazardly just looking at the crops and really not worried about what you guys are doing. They don't seem to be attacking. They seem to be more interested in eating the crops. Okay. So it looks like our ranger, excuse me, the half elf bard, is going first.
Okay, I'm gonna point to the lizard blue 2 and tell Bristles fetch, so he'll attack that.
Okay. So Bristles ends up kind of coming to like he gets a stance and he charges over towards the fence, knocks a hole right at where he charges. So he kind of breaks through the fence line to reach his targets. So he's just on the other side of the fence now. Okay. Anything else? That was that was kind of a free action, just telling him what to do.
I'm gonna move and attack.
Mm-hmm. Oops. Okay. You got to make sure you're in a square. There you go.
Yeah, I thought I'd stopped moving and then.
Yep.
once
I took it over.
It moved.
Okay.
And I'm gonna shoot.
Okay. You will have a slight amount of cover, so you will have a -2 on your attack roll. Because you're basically shooting through the fence and through the crops. So your arrow comes flying through and basically buries itself into the dirt next to the blue lizard.
Right there. That's the target, everyone.
Anything else? Bonus actions or?
I think that's it for right now.
Okay. So go ahead and pass your turn. Okay. It's time for our tabaxi friend.
Okay, I see the boar break through the barrier, and I compose a quick little ditty. The boar went crashing through the fence. That didn't make a lot of sense.
Woo!
And I'm going to try a different approach. I'm going to try to use my cantrip and cast a minor illusion somewhere around. Don't mean to move, but somewhere around there. Something like a hissing snake, something that maybe the lizards would be afraid of and maybe take notice, might chase them away.
Okay.
One of those large dinosaurs would be good.
Okay. If in the future, if any of you want to point at something, you can right click on the map and you'll see pointers, which is the arrow, and then there'll be an array of different shapes that you can draw. Just so you guys know. But I get you. So explain the lizard thing or the snake. Is it a rattler? Is it a anaconda looking thing?
Be something like a hissing, something like a python or an anaconda, something that would naturally be a predator of lizards like.
So I'm looking for constriction or poison or both. But okay. So some kind of anaconda. So that kind of snake would tentatively wrap itself around the lizard. So the lizard is kind of just sitting there grazing, and it's kind of looking at the illusion. Now I'm going to check to see if it believes it or not. So it's kind of just kind of watching it. It doesn't seem to be alarmed, and you're not even entirely sure if it's convinced that it's truly a snake or a lizard or whatever you snake.
Okay, I'll kind of hang my head and end my turn.
Okay. So the rest is you see this like anaconda or python like thing circling around the and slithering close to the blue lizard and doesn't seem to be phasing it. It's just sitting there grazing on the vegetables.
So I'm gonna turn to Real Boss and say, "Great, I like your snake, Real Boss." And then I'm gonna dash over to I blinked out for a minute. Is there a gate here? Where's the gate?
There really isn't an apparent gate, but I'm going to assume that it's, in a spot like this corner here, so close to where you pointed. So your entryway is going to be right there, or you have to hop over.
Okay, well, I'm short, so I might could do that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna probably dash down here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can grab some of these other guys, and that will have to be the end of my turn.
Okay. So you guys see the barbarian dwarf kind of booking as fast as her little legs will take her onto the other side of the farm, the vegetable garden.
I'm short, but I
Clang,
am
clang, clang,
packed
clang, clang.
AF. She is compact but beefy.
Okay, so the purple lizard notices the boar has arrived, and he kind of moves. Let's see. He just kind of moves over this way. He starts grazing over here. So this guy is basically moving away. And he goes to grazing over in this direction. This guy moves over here. So this lizard here is going kind of curious about the paladin. So he moved that way. So the boar is continuing its charge towards the lizards. So go ahead and drag your attack roll onto that lizard for the boar. And the paladin's just wondering if there was an agreement to kill these things or just drive them off.
Damn it, I'm trying to be subtle.
I can't really seem to target the.
Okay, I'll take care of it. So basically, he charged forward, and he's going to attack with his tusks. Oops. Wow. So he rammed into this creature here, and he basically gored that little lizard.
Boom.
Wow. So that really hurt the lizard. It kind of knocked it and had it roll. So it rolled around and it fell flat on its back with its little feet trying to flip back over. So that is the boar kind of took care of that one, so to speak. It looks like it's stunned almost. So this little lizard here jumps up underneath the fence and engages with the dwarf. And at first it was curious, but now it seems to be more on the defensive part of it. So it aggressively hisses and it attacks you and it tries to bite you in the legs.
I hiss back.
And it's able to find purchase. So it bites your big toe basically. Or on your thigh. So you just take like a point of damage.
He gave me a love bite.
And you succeeded on the save versus whatever it's supposed to have. So that needs to be fixed. But you didn't feel any effects or anything, and you're able to resist whatever it is it was trying to apply to you. So that's good. Lucky. Okay. So Hamster. The action is starting. So Hamster
Right,
moves into the garden.
gradually walk him through the hole that the ball made, and I'm drawing him because I'm really hungry, and look at these lizards, and I think I remember my friend Conan saying a lizard on a stick was rather tasty.
Hmm?
And I pull out my short bow and I take aim.
Okay. And that's a miss. So the
They
arrow
are
sails
movable.
harmlessly across the yard.
I'm drawing so much thinking about how I'm going to eat it. I completely
You're
missed.
so hungry you're shaking.
I look down at the lettuce by my feet. I think, will anyone notice if I quickly have a snack on this? And bonus action, have a nibble.
That's pretty funny. All right. Let's see. So, the little orange lizard here, he sees your advance and he tries to come meet with you mainly out of curiosity. But you're next to his favorite food, so he might be getting a little territorial and you hear him hissing at you. So that's his turn. Mez.
Mm.
So you notice that the illusion didn't really affect the lizard initially, the one that the Tabaxi put on him.
So seeing that not work, I think I'll use Foreign Familiar to try and create a physical form of
Okay.
what was scary lizard? I think a large hawk of some kind.
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to roll. Okay. So you find a bird of prey roosting on top of the barn, but it is not a hawk. It is a owl. A very exotic, beautiful looking owl. And it comes swooping down off of the barn and it kind of is flying around. And since it's not dark out, it's kind of out of touch, meaning it's more keen to being active during the early morning or the early evenings. So it's a little bit nocturnal.
Mm.
So it's kind of out of sorts and it's flying around in a circle.
I'm going to try and use that to my advantage. If I can, I'm going to try and command it just to see if we can swoop around the
Okay.
lizards, trying to scare them off.
Okay. So the owl makes a pass on the farm to the north. It flies out and it flies over the lizard. What's that? Number 2, and it appears to be creating a little bit of nervousness. So the lizard is considering moving, but it just kind of hunkers down amongst the vegetables as the owl is kind of circling around. So the owl's trying to make a big pass over both gardens and then, take an assessment of its targets. So that's what it's doing.
That ends my turn.
Okay. So this little guy here, he moves this way. He's going to move north, and he is basically going over to graze on a different patch of vegetables. And he kind of looks over and he sees the half elf acting aggressive, so it starts hissing. Okay. So that's his turn. Okay. The half elf's turn. So it looks like the boar has things in hand to the north, as well as an owl circling around from the barn. And then you also have your friend, the halfling rogue, to the north. Are you there? Okay. We will skip his turn. Tabaxi.
Okay. I compose another little song. Saw how the roasted beans went down toward that lizard.
Okay.
The brave dwarven Pally galloped down the road. The defiant little lizard is ready to have a go.
I'm smiling. I'm smiling.
Whether she bought her toe or shin, she wants to do 'em in.
I can one of my features of the tabaxi is I can go twice the distance as long as I don't move the next turn.
Right, and you need to make sure you end up in a square. So when you guys draw the lines from your character to your next location, zoom in a
I
little
want
bit.
to be close to the plant there.
Okay, but you want to make sure that you end up in a square. So zoom in a little bit and make sure when you draw your movement line that it ends in the center of a square. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, and I'm gonna try something there. I'm gonna use my action to grab maybe a bunch of leaves from that bush there, and I'm gonna try. I don't know. Maybe it would be like a performance. I'm gonna pretend. I'm gonna try to perform in a way toward that lizard that's closest there, in order to try to lure it away out of the corral.
Okay, you want it to
In a
come towards you?
non-threatening way. Yeah, I want it to come toward me, and
Okay.
I want to try to be non-threatening.
Okay, put a persuasion check in the dice tower, please.
I do a performance instead.
Sure. Okay. So you have the lizard's attention, and he stops grazing, and he's looking at you and what you have in your hand. So you have his attention. Now you're going to have to persuade him to come towards you.
Okay.
So you did good. You're able to, kind of wave around and get him to pay attention to you. And as you're kind of waving around and shaking, he just kind of sits tight and he's watching you grazing. So you got his attention. He's just not coming towards you.
Okay. And I'll end my turn.
Okay. Okay. So you just got bit, and this little guy come jumping out of the corral there through the fence. There's like a little wooden fence. So there's enough room for him to get through.
And this is Lizard Orange 1, right?
Yep. All right. So she swings her blade and instantly takes that lizard out.
I
He's like,
impale it on his head.
so you have a skewer.
And for my movement, I'm gonna hop the fence.
Mhm.
Which are you Rilvus, are you
Are you
Say
what?
that again?
the lizard that you're trying to coax? Is that lizard 3?
It's the next one closest to you that's alive. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so for a movement, I am going to hop this fence and
Okay.
come over here toward Lizard Blue 1. Should I make an athletics check?
Yes, please. And you will lose 5 feet of movement for going over the fence.
Got it.
Yeah, you just run up, kind of jog up there and plant your hands and just kind of swing your whole body and roll over the top of that fence. And you land very nicely on your feet.
Is that right? Is my
Yeah.
speed is 25,
25.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can move 5 more feet if you want.
I want. And that will end my turn.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So this lizard here, seeing that owl go by, is kind of nervous. So he moves this way. And he's looking at the boar. And I think he's going to help his ally here. So he's moving closer to the boar. He's looking at it as a threat. He starts hissing. So this lizard tries to fight back. So he takes a snap at the boar. And with his little vicious bite, he's able to just basically do a nice little sink of his teeth into the boar's hide. So his needle-like teeth just come out and just basically grab onto the boar, and the boar kind of shakes its leg to get the lizard off. Well, this little guy here, he's kind
Bristles.
of... Is that his name, Bristles?
Yep.
I like it. So the lizard that's down here in the south, the lizard blue number 3, he's confused by the tabaxi and the movement of the dwarven paladin. Since I don't want to just say he's going to go one way or the other, I'm going to roll. So if it's odd, he goes to the tabaxi. If it's even, he goes towards the dwarf. So he goes towards the tabaxi. And he walks over, he saunters over, and he doesn't look aggressive. As a matter of fact, he is kind of interested in all the little yummies that you pick for him.
That's kind of cute.
Cool.
So he's sitting there anticipating you to hand some of those yummies to him.
Hit him while he's distracted.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of mean.
You want me to describe what I do when he does that?
Yeah.
Okay. I give them in a non-threatening way. I feed him some of the bunch that I have, and with my other hand, I pull some others, and I try to continue to move back a little bit so that
Okay. So he
come
can't strike
with
you?
me.
Okay. So I want you to roll an animal handling check, but I want you to do it with advantage. So hit the ADV button and roll animal handling. So it appears that you have this guy contained for right now. And when your turn comes, you can move back without getting a attack of opportunity.
Okay, cool.
So this lizard here is going to meet your charge. Yeah, we got to make sure that we're in the square. Okay. So the lizard is basically acting aggressive. It's hissing. It's and it's kind of menacing and showing its teeth. And look, if it could talk, it'd probably yell at you. And it takes a nice little chomp on your leg there again. This
Yummy.
time, this does not feel too good. You can feel these needle-like teeth pierce through your leggings and cause you a lot of agony. You're just like, you little...
Ah.
Yeah, so that wasn't very fun. And it was a lot more vicious than the other bite that we received earlier. Okay. So the boar is basically still in challenge mode with this blue lizard. And he is going to tusk or root out that blue lizard that has been fighting. So he takes a step back and digs his heels in and just starts, he comes up from the ground and pushes up with his head. And he manages to connect with that lizard, basically uproot it off the ground. The lizard tried to feebly grab onto the vegetation, but it just ripped it. So, that basically killed that lizard. The boar just kind of flipped it up in the air and it landed down lifelessly into the vegetables garden. So the boar took that one out. So this one is dead. And our next turn is Hamster. So you just witness the boar just took out the one of the lizards, but you have one kind of coming in your direction, the orange one.
I basically look at the boar in jealousy and just start drawing even more, eyeballing the orange lizard. Go, you're going to be my dinner soon.
Okay.
It says here I've got ability where I can be by myself and still get advantage on my attack rolls, so that should allow me to use sneak attack if I'm correct.
Yeah, why not? I'm not going to complain or argue. So you want to do your attack roll first, and then you apply the sneak attack. All right. So this arrow goes sailing and it hits. And he's basically got this lizard really close to him. So you should be able to just hammer it to the ground, basically, with that arrow.
Did the attack roll go through?
The attack roll did, and I see the effect, but I do not see damage.
Oh, right. My mouse must be playing up a bit. Sorry about
Mhm. And with that, you took him out.
It's dinner
Skewered.
time!
Skewered lizard.
Yummy.
I'm going to use my movement to move up to it and chow down.
Okay. So you grab your arrow. You can replace your arrow in your inventory. And you have a skewer now. Okay, Mez.
So I'm gonna try and make my way towards one of the lizards, probably on the safe side.
Okay.
Oh, here we go, right there.
So you see all your friends are kind of taking care of business.
So I still have the L flowing around, don't I? Is that
Yep.
affected him at all, or is it still
Yeah,
just?
he's
there?
circling around behind you now.
Okay.
So he's basically flying up and over your head. So at which point, if you do an animal handling check, you can direct him to your target, or you can have him fly somewhere else.
Yeah, I think I'll keep him there for now and attempt to fire a fireball at him.
A fireball?
Yeah.
Okay.
A firebolt, sorry, not fireball.
I was like, okay.
Burn down the farm.
Yeah, we don't want to burn the farm down.
Start flagging down Hamster. Over here. Bring you the.
So you said it was a disadvantage, didn't you? Because of the defense.
Let me see. Firebolt. So all you have to do is drag the cast on the whatever your target is. And that'll do the save. So you're able to hit it, and now you just apply the damage. So this firebolt comes shooting out of your hand and crashes into that purple lizard. And sparks and everything go everywhere. There's a little bit of smoldering.
Only a slightly bit charred there.
So you put a nice little scar on its back. And you smell cooking meat there, Paladin. So the purple lizard that was just struck is basically upset and being territorial and is going to move out here. So it crawls through the fence and ends its turn there. And let me think. Yep. So he's basically upset with you. He knows it came from that direction. So he's heading that direction. Okay, Half Elf Ranger. So you are kind of waiting to. You're kind of assessing what's happening. And
Well, Bristles has been hurt, so I'm gonna head over that way still.
okay. And you can move through the fence. If you roll in athletics, you won't lose any movement in this case. But if you fail, you're going to lose 10 feet of movement.
Okay.
So I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt to hop over that fence without too much interruption. Okay,
Whoa, he
perfect.
sails.
Yeah. So you just basically stride over that fence. So you can move your full movement without losing any ground.
There we go to there.
Okay. So now you're side by side with Bristles.
Draw my short swords and
Mm-hmm.
take care of this lizard.
All right. So describe what you do with these things if you hit. So the rest of you can see this barn owl circling around the the premise. So I see that you've pulled out your short blade and you score a vicious blow. So what does that look like to you? So you guys see that he took his short blade out and did a nice little jab at it and has probably damn near skewered it. And it looks like he has breakfast.
Do not mess with his bristles.
No.
That's right. Stay away from the boar. Just let it gore you. So it's gonna be
Nice.
okay.
Nice. All right, good job, man. That was awesome. So he just comes, "You're not messing with bristles," and he just come over and took that lizard out. Okie dokie. Looks like you got any bonus actions or anything else you want to do?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. All right, Mr. Tabaxi, you have the attention of the lizard. You need to roll an animal handling check right off the bat.
With advantage?
Sure. Okay. So you still have his attention, and you may move away. But if you move too far away, in which you won't know what too far is, the lizard might lose its interest in you. So
Yeah, I'll go like 5 feet at a time and be patient.
okay. So go ahead and move back where you're going to.
I And I have some more verses I composed.
All right, let's hear him.
The mighty Pally performed an instant kill. To see her nimbly jump the fence was really quite a thrill. Now with leaves of friendship, the lizard I've met. By luring him with tasty leaves, he'll soon become my pet.
Wow.
All of you guys are looking at this like, what is he doing? But you're familiar with his little antics, so it's not completely out of character.
And I'm hoping there's some other bushes. My plan is that while I'm giving him some from this bunch of leaves, luring him out away from the rest, my plan is to I kind of taste the leaves a little bit just so I see what flavor they are. And I'm going to start using my I'm not sure which would be my prestidigitation or and try to start flavoring, like modifying the leaves a little bit so they taste like this plant.
Okay.
my plan is I can use that to, feed him and lure him out and get him interested in something other than the plants that are used for,
Okay. So you can hand him a piece of beef jerky and cast the prestidigitation on it.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a great
Because
idea.
you have your
You can
food.
do a taste, yeah.
Yeah. So I need you to roll a nature check just to ensure that you kind of know what the hell you're doing. Okay. So you are a bona fide flavor tester, and you're pretty sure that the lizard will probably go for it because the plant that you have just taken a little nibble of isn't too bad. And as a matter of fact, it kind of has the texture and the flavor of artichoke. So it's kind of like a
Nice.
fresh artichoke type thing. And from what you can see, the lizards are dragging their teeth along the leaves and then licking off the whatever the fruit or whatever it gives off.
Okay.
So that's
All
what
right.
you noticed on the plant. And
All right. And I'll end my turn with that.
okay, all right.
So this lizard bit me, I assume, on the leg,
Hmm.
and he's kind of in front of me, biting me on the leg, and I turn around and say, Rilvas, stop playing with your food. And I take my axe and I bring it down onto this lizard's back.
Okay. And that cracks that thing right across its back and cuts him in half.
Satisfying, very satisfying. And for my move action, I'm going to move up to Mr. Purple.
Okay.
I don't think I'm in a square.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. So you are right there. Do you have any bonus actions?
I was just looking at that. I don't think I do. I am going to make a lot of noise, hoping to get this little thing's attention
Okay.
as I'm running, which I make a lot of noise anyway.
Okay. So the boar is kind of rooting around. It's pretty much stationary, but it's kind of taking its tusks and rooting the ground and kind of tearing up the garden. But what it appears to be doing is trying to cover its wound and stop the bleeding. So it's like kicking up dirt and trying to make it land on where the lizard bit him. So that's what he's doing. Hamster, you got your food.
I walk through the gap of the fence and turn, look down, and I'm like, oh, more food. So I pocket this one and I take another
Whoop! More food. I guess it sounds like Harpo, probably. Whoop, 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 whoop. Wow. So one thrum of the string from his bow, and it just zaps that target right in front of you, Paladin. So as you're trying to figure out how you're going to scale the fence, looks like a hamster has basically claimed his next victim.
I tip my axe at him. Thank you,
All
sir.
I'm going to feast well this morning.
right. Is that the end? Okay. So Mez. So your threat assessment is very low now. And it seems like most of this is under control.
So I just want to shoot till real two real Vass. Have you got him sorted, or do you want him roasted?
You want me to respond?
Yeah, they haven't.
Yeah, I composed a couple more lines of verse.
just for the occasion.
I definitely want to hear them. So I'm going to hold off on attacking it for now.
Okay.
The irksome Pally is upset she was bit. Now at her kind tabaxi friend, she wants to take a hit, but I'll ignore her slings and arrows that she just threw and focus on my lizard. I think I'll name him Blue.
That's awesome.
Needs work, but
Yeah, it's there.
I
Okay.
like it.
Yeah, I
So
think it's just missing something in the translation from Tabaxi. Probably awesome in Tabaxi.
so
all right.
is Blue gonna follow me along?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna make him neutral now instead of an enemy.
Cool.
So he is now neutral. So as long as he's not attacked or handled incorrectly, he will not be aggressive anymore.
All right. I plan on working with him and
Okay.
tame him.
All right. So basically, that was really kind of a smaller challenge that Lady Shell had set up. So that worked out pretty good. What did you guys think of that?
That was
Good,
fun.
because there's different ways to solve it.
Yeah, it can be done through role play, strategy, directing animals at it. Or like, for instance, the owl. If you had made another animal handling check and you directed it to attack one of the lizards, it probably would have. It's still circling around, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to take an assessment of the barn, but I think it's going to roost back up on the barn after its sweep.
I like it that there was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, not just two. You're lucky
Yeah, it was
that
well spread out too.
yeah, it's lucky that you guys didn't get in too deep with them because some of them are pretty nasty.
It's the orange ones, right? Or
I
the
don't
blue ones are
remember, but
poisonous.
they're all got something to bring to the table.
Well, I got a question. I have something on consumable called Good Juju.
Hmm.
A creature you touch regains a number of hit points equal to 1d4 plus 1. Can I use this on myself?
Sure. Just make sure you check it off, and any spells that you guys use, make sure you check those off.
So I am going to touch myself right where I've been bit.
Okay.
That's better.
Nice. It's good juju. And then there's the question of the boar. He's got a big gouge in him, but he stopped the bleeding. He just
Yeah,
basically
well,
caked it with mud.
we should be able to just bandage that up for now. We're just gonna go back down and get some food, right?
Hmm.
Do you want me to do anything, or you want to see if he can heal up?
He should be fine to heal up on his own for now, I think.
Okay, well, if you need me, I'm available.
All right.
Lizard bites can be nasty, though.
Yep. Start itching.
Bacteria.
Hmm.
He's a boar. He's got a hardy constitution.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's very true. Okay, so you guys did pretty good. That was like 4 rounds of interaction there. That's really good. So, between now and the next event, I'm going to give you guys a short rest, and you will be going to Pickle Pete's at last. So, as you leave the farm, you notice that the farmers are very grateful, and they are very, very happy with your deeds and that you didn't burn up the farm, and not too much damage has been dealt out. So that was really good.
Sorry about the fence.
They don't seem to be that worried about it. Um, However, it will take some time to repair the fence, so they might request that you guys come back and help them someday with the farm. And I'm sure you guys will oblige. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they're not too worried. They're glad that the lizards are gone and that order is being restored. And they didn't know that owl was roosting up there, and they're really glad that he's up there because that gets rid of the field mice and stuff. So he's really happy. They're happy about that. So any questions or comments about this encounter?
Oh, it's interesting.
Okay.
No, I think it went well. They're placed well. They're spread out, so the party has to.
Yep. Okay. So it's later in the morning after you guys take that short rest. And did I give that to you yet? No, I did not. So let me do that first. So this is assuming your travel time between here and there and sitting around in the bar waiting for your meals. And I'm going to give you a short rest. And if you want to use any of your recovery hit die or anything like that, you can. Short rest. Okay. So it's kind of later in the getting closer to afternoon. You finally made it to the door, and what a sight. The townsfolk are out in full force now because when you were out earlier, wasn't as many people. But some of them are enjoying a little bit too much ale. There's already people getting drunk. And, it's just 5 o'clock somewhere, right? So you all order a meal and some fruit nectar to go with it as you take in what's going on around you. Several people gaze in your direction expectantly, as if they're hoping you'll ask them for some gossip. You approach a half elf and a human sitting at a small table by the fire. There's like a low burning fire, a cooking fire. You ask them if they've heard any good rumors or anything that's been going on. So, Hylian Reglin, one of the two, says, "Well, there's been problems with orcs lately. They've been boldly attacking members of Burton McManus's adventure tours while they were out exploring the jungle. That happened. You might want to go talk with him, see if he can tell you some more. That's all I know." And then Jason Randall, the other guy, kind of looks over him like, "You idiot! Why did you tell him that?" So then he says, "Well, I heard Grund mention that this place, Pickled Pete's, is running low on frogs for the upcoming frog race at the festival. I hope they can catch some before the festival time starts. That race is always fun to watch." So you guys know that annually, Lozano kind of has a festival, and it's a celebration time, and it lasts for almost a week. And in this particular town, one of the most popular events is the frog races. So there are two possibilities where you basically have this impression that you could potentially have two more jobs, and then not to mention the one back at the agency. So you guys are resting and getting meals.
I am drinking ale.
Okay. Anybody else?
Or
Yeah, I'm gonna get some ale and some something to eat, and I'm also going to bring in Blue. I'm
Hmm.
gonna regale them with some tales and my song I've been working on.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to maybe even entice Blue to maybe learn some rudimentary tricks.
So roll a performance check about your storytelling, and it may have a small impact on the transactions in Pickled Pete's.
Performance, you said?
Hmm. So you're telling the story. You have this lizard. You're telling them how you dispatched the lizards, and you kept this one as a pet, and you're going to teach it tricks. And everybody in the bar seems to be in awe of you. They're all staring at you. Their mouths are open, like wow, and they're really happy. Even you get a couple people clapping, including one of your own party members. And Pickled Pete's um, Grund is decided to pay for your first round of ale for that story.
Oh, I thank him profusely, and
So that is great. He says, "What's the name of that that he's like a half orc looking dude, and he's kind of polishing up some glasses. He says, "What's the name of that thing there? That lizard?"
Oh, that's Blue.
Oh, okay, that's a good name. Here, Blue, it's a good name too. And he looks pretty happy and looks around at all of you guys, and he says, "Did you hear about me needing my frogs?"
Yes, sir, we have.
Well, I'll need some soon if you guys are interested. Now, don't think it's easy, 'cause them little slippery bastards are hard to catch. So he kind of snickers and goes back to his prep.
If we ask him for any tips on where we might find some frogs to catch, would he be able to give us any information?
Well, he kind of turns back and says, "Well, guys," he says, I certainly could use the help, but, at the festival next week and all that. Uh, well, I found someone had unlatched the damn door to the frog pens. And now, nearly all the frogs we had in there are missing. Darn kids. I know it was them damn kids. Anyway, we need to find some replacement frogs. Or we won't be able to run the frog races. And I'm working a double shift, so I can't go myself. But I was wondering if you might be able to help me. We could use about a dozen. If you could do this, I'll make sure you all get a free entry in the frog races during the festival, plus all of your room and board will be paid for. Your meals, your drinks, you name it. It'll be all your stuff is on the house tonight.
I
Hey,
asked
didn't
him
we
if
see
that.
on that?
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, didn't we see on that message board that someone had lost a racing dinosaur in the jungle as well? Is that the same
Yeah.
direction we'd be going to look for some frogs? We could, double.
I'm kind of interested in those orcs. That's a bit more serious, I think, than some missing frogs.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, but have you ever tasted frog legs?
I'm a ranger.
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
happens to the
frog legs.
losers. That's what happens to the losers of the race, by the way.
Awesome.
I'm in the corner drawling.
So, I'm going to put a vote up in the chat. And you can leave it blank, you can make it a check, or you can make it an X. And whatever stacks up the most will determine one of the three.
While you're doing that, Roast is gonna go up to Rilvas and put her arm on his back and say, "I love your songs, dude. They're awesome." And I'm gonna pull out my axe and I'm gonna put it right up to his face and say, "Do you see this? There are
What?
no
Mm.
arrows or bows. This is all I use. So do me a favor and edit your song, sweetie."
I gulp a little bit and nod my head.
So you guys can go ahead and vote on one of the three directions you want to go. Again, don't vote at all if you want to do the dinosaur thing. If you want to do the orc thing, let's make it an X. And if you want to do the frog catch, do a check. So in the chat, there's a vote system. Now,
Say it again now, what'd you say?
don't vote at all. So leave it blank if you don't, if you want to do the dinosaur. If you want to do the orcs, you're going to make it an X. If you want to do the frogs, it's a check mark. And I'd like you all to take a 5-minute break, get some water, and we'll come back.
Just to let you all know,
Alrighty.
Excuse
I
me?
really want those legs.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what happens to the losers.
I gotta do what my character would say. And Rilvas, I'll start scratching you behind the ear a little bit because I didn't mean to be very threatening.
I know you didn't.
So that was kind of fun. Yeah, so go ahead and take a quick break and make sure you put AFK on. so we know when you're coming back.
back.
My back.
Okay. Just waiting on the others. So we're gonna go for another hour and a half, and if we don't finish, that's fine. We'll get as far as we can.
Okie doke.
Okay. As you guys are contemplating what to do next, the two farmers that you guys helped earlier, they come in the door and they sit down at a table, and they're carrying a wooden box. And one of them looks over at you guys and waves over the farmer, the guy, the male, the dad, the paw. He presents a box to you. Not very big, it's wood.
That's one of our help wanted.
Mm-hmm. So
Looking for used containers.
Container.
Yeah, 10 by 10 container.
Thank you for this. Is it something I should open?
Yeah,
It's
they both nod.
okay.
It's not a very big box. It's not
Okay.
10 by 10.
So I will reach out and take the box and look at everybody and open it.
Okay, inside you see a bunch of tea leaves, and there's a pouch in there.
What's this?
And they said, it's the least we can do. We thought that, if you could, accept our gratitude for helping us earlier today, and we take back what we say about fixing anything. You guys certainly risked your lives and wasted your time on helping us, so we feel this is the least we can do. In this box is the Rushing Brook tea, which is very, very expensive and very, very potent. So please drink this as very carefully and cautiously as possible. And also only use it when you really need to. And it's grown right next to the creek that feeds our town. So we called it Rushing Brook tea because that's where the plants tend to grow. So they hand you a basically like a parcel of tea and 25 gold in the form of a pouch.
I hold the tea up to Rivless and for him to smell it.
I do, but I also motion to Blue to, just stay because you know how he loves Lee. Might tear into him. What do I notice about them? Can I do a nature check or something?
Sure. Sure. You notice that they're fairly young. They're kind of a light green, and they almost smell kind of hoppy. Apparently, when you steep them, they have some kind of alchemical properties to them.
Do you know what kind of alchemical properties they have? That's what I will
Can
ask
we
the
ask the
couple.
farmers?
Yeah, they kind of both nod and they look at each other and they look at you and they seem to be pretty anxious. And they're like, yeah, it's just call it a little pick me up.
It's cocaine.
It's
What's that?
Blow.
it's between blow and coffee. It's not
a highball.
addictive.
It's a highball.
Yeah, it's not addictive.
Well, thank you.
So I can use identifier on it as well to see if you want to.
Sure.
Well, use it as ritual if we have time.
Yeah, go ahead. You sit around the table and where you guys were eating, and you examine the leaves and do your best to examine. So can you do an Arcana check in the dice tower, please? Okay. So upon examining, you know that these are used in these types of leaves are traditionally used in certain types of potions. So if you are at liberty to explain to your group how that these things would affect them, basically the effects of haste would be placed upon your party if they drink the tea, whether it's hot or not. So once it's steeped and brewed, it can be, held for a couple days before it goes bad. And it's generally one of the main ingredients in the haste potion.
Well, we might need this to catch frogs.
That's a very good point.
Bright idea.
Yep. So if you guys want to open up your party sheet and tab to the inventory section, there are 5 entries of Rushing Brook tea. So if you want to grab one of those and drag it to your inventory, you're welcome to. So you just grab it from the pen or the circle on the right where it says assignment.
So, is there a shop in town? We could probably maybe get a pestle, mortar and pestle to make this potion.
Yeah, I noticed there's several shops around. Maybe we could do a little shopping before we go.
Sure. Are you guys, everybody got their thing of tea?
No. Hold on.
I noticed there's still 2 satchels of it left, or 2 little bundles. They're kind of like harvested leaves, and they have like a little thing tied around the ends of them.
I got mine.
Okay. So I'm going to distribute the coin now. So you each get 5 gold plus a dose of that tea, in which you can use that if you actually open the description of the tea. There should be a link in there for the haste spell.
Oh yeah.
And then you can apply that to yourself or add it to your combat or your tab for.
Consumables.
Yeah, you could do something like that, or you can just add it to your sheet and just use it once. Add it to your actions tab and just use it once. Okay. So the farmers look very grateful. They kind of nod, like they bow, like thank you so much, and they start kind of ordering their food for dinner for tonight. And good old Grund, he seems very pleased with you guys. You guys have really done this town a great service by providing all this help, and he's very happy with you guys. And I really hope you catch those frogs, because that brings in a lot of money and customers. So he
I
doesn't.
did have
Go ahead.
I did have one question when the guys brought the box, because
Mhm.
we're looking by 10-inch by 10-inch boxes.
Mhm.
They might know where we might find some used boxes.
There is a trading post on the other side of town. There is a trade facility not far from here. You should know where it is. They might have some, because they tend to get crates in from all over the realms.
Well, I suggest maybe we should go over to that trading post, because we're going to need to have something to catch the frogs in, right?
Mhm.
The frogs in. I'm not sure how big
Yeah.
these frogs are.
Well, right across the way is Gom's Stables, Tack, and Supplies. So that should do it. And then there's an outfitter place in town, too. Jarek Mandarin's Outfitters.
Yeah, where is that?
Well, I can reshare the map.
I
Yeah,
have
we
the
got-
map.
Okay.
We got
I just didn't-
Lozano
I'm
Storage.
missing it. Julessa's Pike Grove Bookstore. FG Storage.
The stables are right across from Pickle Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. I
Yeah.
found the Outfitters. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I thank him and suggest to our group that maybe we go talk to them.
Who are you going to talk to?
Go to the tax supply.
Okay.
All right, guys, you ready to get some stuff to go catch some frogs?
I suppose. I mean, it seems pretty light work.
Well, trying to make the best out of a situation.
So it looks like frogs it is.
Yeah, the halfling rogue looks quite eager.
So you guys
Don't eat them before we turn them in.
you guys finish up your meals and go across the street, only slightly buzzed. If you're from out of town, you wouldn't know that, or you probably know that by visiting this place, you have tack and supplies. Gom has horses that he can sell, oxen, mules, ponies, anything like that. They're not stored here, but he definitely has a sample of each. And anything you would need to purchase to take care of them. So there are a few carts on hand, should you be needing travel between towns and you need to hold more than one passenger. Gorn is a hardy dragonborn who has a way with animals. For some reason, he just has this natural touch. So he has this business which allows him to get animals and to train them. And so it's a really natural thing for him to do. He has a young turtle stable hand named Destra Tengu. Bit kind of odd, as turtles usually stay in their home villages most of their lives. Destra wanted to have a fuller life than the ones back in the Matok. So instead of dealing only with members of his own race, Destra likes to challenge himself to learn more about the other races of Chult. Well, at least the ones that pay a visit to Lozano. And there is a attack and supply menu. So I will share that with you. So from there, if you want to buy anything, you just click on one of the pins, and then you drag that parcel into your adventure inventory, and it'll subtract the gold out. So if there's anything in there that interests you, this is what he has available for the next few days. He gets things in and out, but it doesn't look like he has any of those 10 by 10 crates.
Well, you guys want to ride out there or you want to walk?
Good question.
I think if we can afford it, we should ride, and we might need some type of cart to carry
So-
those boxes or such.
So you got 75 gold or excuse me, 50 gold for a draft horse, and then 15 gold for a cart, and then a bit and bridle. Or you can just have a horse and put saddlebags on it.
Yeah, I'm eyeballing a pony.
Are we hunting down frogs? Because if so, we might need to go into swampland and take in pack like animals. In swampland might be a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yep. The half elf ranger, can you please roll a nature check in the dice tower?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that from your travels and being with nature, that the best time to catch frogs is generally in the early in the morning or late in the evening when the sun's going down. So it's not really conducive to travel there and not have a peak time when they're out. So if you don't have a fairly good way to get there soon, you might have to wait till the next morning. Or you can try to catch them, but it would be more difficult.
Okay,
So it
so
depends on when you arrive there.
we'll want to get there quickly now, or get there first thing in the morning.
I think we should ride out there. If we all get our own animals, everyone up for that?
I don't think all of us can afford it. Our riding horse is more gold than we have.
How much gold do you have?
So 65. But
How many silver?
yeah, I didn't think about that. 110.
All right, so that's 11 gold.
Actually, now I think about it, I'm only a Chrome. I can probably do with a pony.
Yeah. You got enough for a pony?
Yeah. So Gom looks really pleased that you guys are eyeballing his draft horses and such. Kind of rubbing his hands together and says, "Take your time. This is an important decision."
I think we should get individual mounts instead of a cart. Taking a cart into the swamp sounds like a dumb idea.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can always get a cart later.
Now, when you come back, you can stable your pets here for 5 silver per day. And I assure you that Destra will take care of it. Either that
Ask
or
him what is his policy, say, for example, if we were to buy a pony, as long as it wasn't injured or anything, and we wanted to upgrade to a horse later on, what's his policy on, making
trading.
deals and exchange?
Yeah, trade-ins. Yeah.
Well, since I'm going to be missing that inventory for a day, I might tack on a few coins for the upgrade.
Okay,
So
that sounds fair.
it won't be a straight trade, but for each day, basically you're renting the animal until you want to upgrade it. So if that's the case, he's gonna charge you per month or whatever an extra gold
Okay,
or something like that. It's gonna cost you an extra gold to switch it over.
that sounds fair.
And then he kind of looks at you guys and says, "Can I interest you in?" And he shows you the saddlebags.
Yeah, you're gonna need that.
Yep. I'm getting a pony, a bit and bridle, and saddlebags. And I'm gonna turn to Mez and say, "You want to ride with me, Mez?"
Oh, that sounds like a perfect plan.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You guys are light enough, at least Mez is, but that pony is going to be slowed down a little bit. Not much, but a little bit.
Could you
All
link
right.
the list again? Sorry.
Now, seeing as I've never actually purchased a donkey, mule, or a pony in a game before, just
Mhm.
logistically, what would be the difference between a pony, donkey, in regards to carrying
Upkeep,
uh,
weight,
a beast?
speed, and usability.
So, if the bigger folks are going to be doing a horse, which
Hmm.
one would be more apt to keep up?
The horse,
No,
the
I'm
riding
saying,
horse.
The riding horse.
yeah, I don't know if a dwarf does. Do dwarves like riding horses?
Not specifically, but they're not. They don't like boats, but they don't mind a horse if they have to. A pony would be sufficient for a dwarf.
Okay.
But
So I
ponies
okay.
aren't that fast, so
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think we're going to be running too far. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and I'm
yep,
only taking a draft horse because it's cheaper.
yep. They're not that fast either, but they're more
Can
they're
pull.
more helpful. They can pull and stuff. Workhorses.
think maybe I'll get I think I can afford a riding horse.
Okay.
Of
So go ahead and open up your parcel, and
pull it
then
in.
pull the parcel by the link into your inventory tab, and it will automatically deduct the gold. And this idea for the parcels was by Chris and Shehab. They both kind of have a similar type of thing going on. So what do you guys think of the store thing?
It's pretty useful.
I like it. Now, how do I pull the
You open the pin,
link?
open the pin up, and it should have a parcel.
Got it. Thank you.
And then you drag the top corner, the round circle pin, into your inventory, and that creates the purchase.
Hey, Mez, you want to pick up the bit and bridle and the saddlebags? I got the pony.
Yeah, I can do that.
It didn't deduct from mine for some reason.
Did you drag you open the parcel, correct?
Yep.
And you drag in the whole menu or the whole thing from the link.
The
into
whole
your
parcel link, not
Yeah.
just the individual item link.
Right.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Mm-hmm. Now, do any of you have negative values in your gold?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to have to offset that with the coin exchanger. So here's what
Yeah,
we're
I was
going to
going to
do.
ask about that.
Yep, we can check that out right now. All right, so I'm going to bring out a module, and you guys need to load it, I believe. And it is I got to share it with you guys. It's called the Money Exchange, and it's a module used to convert coins. So don't be confused, but what you're going to do is you're going to add the coins that you want to exchange for the other. So I'll get that going.
And where will we see that copy?
I'm going to share it with you guys, and then hold on a sec.
Gotcha. You can share it with us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is called the Money Exchange. And I'm going to share this with you guys. You see that?
That's cool.
Okay,
Mhm.
so you use this to exchange and alleviate problems with negative values that occur when using store modules. It can be used to correct negative values after shopping or exchange money prior to a purchase. The default amount of exchange is set according to the DM's guide. So when you have that, it's from left to right, copper, silver, electrum, gold, platinum. So across the top of each coin is a pin that exchanges the smaller amount to the next larger. Across the bottom will exchange the larger amount to the next smaller denomination. So does that make sense? So for
One more
instance,
time.
Yeah.
so on the top pins that are on top of the coins, each of them has a
Yeah.
pin. You exchange for the smaller amount next to the larger. And if you use the bottom pins, what you're doing is you're taking a coin that's larger and you're going to the next smaller amount. So, in other words, if you want to exchange copper for silver, it's going to take out negative 10 copper, but it's going to give you a silver in exchange. That's just an example. So you want to go from a gold, or excuse me, a silver
Gold.
Gold. And what you want to do is get rid of some of those negative values in your inventory. So you do that by using the coin exchange.
You bring up the store again. I accidentally closed it with
All right.
coin exchange.
Okay.
So do you drag
Bookmark it
those
next
or
time.
the money table? Do you click? I clicked on it.
Yeah, and you drag it in your inventory depending on what you're exchanging. Just like you did with the store items.
Okay, and you have to drag it each time you exchange it.
Mm-hmm. But make sure you pay attention to the denominations. But I believe that if you had to, you could probably change, the core base.
Hmm.
But you just kind of have to get used to how it works. It's really for a role-playing session. Once you understand how it works, it's pretty quick. For a one-shot, I don't know if I would include it, but it is a really cool feature. I like it.
How far out was that frog place?
Probably about 4 hours,
Okay.
no more than that. Maximum, maybe 3. So, with the ponies, probably 3 hours. With the horses, it'd probably just be like 4 or less. I mean, excuse me, 4 hours with the ponies, 3 hours with the horses. So if you leave now or soon, you could get there, right at the end of the light.
Okay. So yeah, we won't need to worry too much about feed while we're gone.
Oh yeah, maybe we should pick up some.
I think my I'm gonna have to adjust this. I think my
So yeah,
I
I'll
could
get
drug
feed.
the horse in twice, so I have too many gold that are.
Okay, just adjust it. Just put back the amount of horse. So whatever horse you got, just put that back into your negative value or whatever it is.
Just quick question, Child Ranger. What is the best thing to store frogs in?
It's funny you should ask.
Frog.
As you guys are shopping and exchanging coins and whatnot, Grund comes over and he's like sweating and he's got food on his clothes. He goes, "I almost forgot," and he hands you a net and some buckets for each one of you.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is
I
going to be a
asked
test
him,
of reflexes.
is it okay to store the bucket in a pack?
Yeah,
Once we
sure.
caught them?
You guys will just be carrying it with you. Let me see here. Parcels.
I'm going to buy a pack, so basically I keep the frogs in a separate bag.
Okay.
Because last thing
Okay.
I'll do, I have to empty my backpack out, fish all the frogs out.
Right.
All right, Mez, you got the bit, bridle, and saddlebags. Did you get those?
Yep. Got the bit bridle saddlebag, and I got some feed.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna find a bucket to stand on and outfit my.
You just happen to have a bucket.
This is true.
So the stores that you have shared with you or anything like that, you want to put those in your shortcut keys. That way, when you need to bring it back up, it's right there. You don't have to look for it, including maps. So anything that's been shared with you, you can put them in your hotkeys below as they come up. So everyone have the menu shortcutted in case.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
All right. So does anyone need the menu again?
Nope,
Me,
I got
please.
it.
Okay. Make sure that
Thank you.
you drag it down to your hotkeys. And I'm going to share the map of Lozano. Make sure you have that shortcutted. Okay. And last but not least, I'm going to share a map of Pickled Pete's. I don't think you've seen the interior just yet. So I will share that with you. And I'd like you to bookmark that for later. Okay. So all that transaction store thing took almost a half an hour. So if you guys are running any campaigns and you have to do these sort of things, try to make sure that that's done before or after your session if possible. If it's a role-playing thing where, it needs to be done, in this case it does, then you're going to have to deal with it. But if it's just buying, selling, and trading, you want to do that before or after your session, or do a market day where your party gets together with you and you just do this sort of thing. That way you're not interrupting the flow of the story.
Good to know.
Yep. So any questions about the stores thing? Or does anyone need another share of something? Okay, so you guys got your equipment. You have the nets and the buckets. And you're getting ready to head out to the swamplands outside of town. And it's quite a travel. I mean, you leave the town, you go past the farms, you go a little bit deeper into the jungle, and you start coming to the headwaters of where the spring comes from. And along the way from the spring of where the spring water comes out, there's a little area where the ground is lower. And there is where this little fen bog type place is. So it's kind of like a little runoff from the creek. It runs down, it kind of trickles down into this little grove. And I guess it's not a full-blown swamp, it's more like a fen. It's just a really small area that has these lily pads and such. And you guys haven't been there that often. There is a guy in town who fishes there, and he always brings back catfish. But for the most part, most people don't hang out in the fen, especially at night, because it can get fairly dangerous. So you guys know that dinosaurs and all sorts of matter of creatures and insects and nocturnal animals are out at night. So when you go there, you know not to dally too long. And you're kind of outside the jurisdiction of town. So there isn't like an army that can come out and help you. Basically, you guys are the militia.
We are the Brute Squad.
Princess Bride reference number 1.
So we hear a lot of peeping from frogs around here.
Yeah. And I'm going to share the parcel with you guys for the bucket and the net. So that is the parcel. All you have to do is drag it to your inventory. And Grund gave you the directions to the pond, and he knows that there is a large group of them that live in that fen.
So, as we're riding along, um, I'm gonna kind of ask Roops, maybe, ride up next to him and say, I'm gonna try to stay alert. I don't have a super high passive perception, but I'm gonna ask him, how's it look up ahead? How's it look around here?
Good
I
question.
don't like the jungle.
Probably not the best place for you to be living then. Do I see anything unusual?
You guys start hearing the nocturnal insects. As you get closer to your location, the smell of decayed vegetation gets a little bit more prominent. There's a pungent smell. It almost smells like marijuana, but it's like skunk cabbage. And
Mhm.
you
I
get
don't know what that smells like at all.
and then there's some other scents like wildflowers. Um, Typically they close at night, which is kind of a cool thing. They'll be nice and open and exposed to the light, but when it gets dark, they kind of fold in on themselves. And it's not too far-fetched that there might be a man-eating plant mixed amongst the vegetation. So you know it's very dangerous, and without your guidance and experience out here, this could be a lost cause.
Hmm.
And every now and then you guys can hear a roar from some godforsaken creature way off in the distance.
It's all right. It's pretty far away.
Yeah,
Who just said that?
the
The
ranger.
ranger.
Was that you, Roops? Okay,
I also have survival, but probably not as good as his.
cool.
Yeah, so we got some good people that know what's going on. And you actually feel kind of hot and sticky in your armor.
I was just gonna say, I'm probably not feeling so hot in my armor.
No, we call that humidities. If you're a female and you have
This is true.
cleavage and you're in a dry, or excuse me, a damp kind of thing, you're going to have trouble. And it's not very
Yeah.
comfortable. And my wife complains to me about it all the time. So,
Yeah, I live in a swamp. I mean,
okay.
in real life, so I'm familiar with swamp ass.
But pardon the phrase, but that's what it's called. So, so you're suffering from that a little bit. You know that you need some powder to apply to yourselves when you get like that. So when you get
Now,
home,
do rules of exhaustion apply?
if this was, Tomb of Annihilation, probably.
Okay.
But since this is a one shot, I'm not going to get too deep into that. But I would say that if you're wearing anything greater than, light armor, you're going to have that issue.
Okay.
Eventually, it'll be quicker for that to happen. But you're just kind of swimming, and you're kind of feeling slimy. And anyone else here that's not accustomed to this type of environment. And it's not like you haven't been here for a while. You just know your limits. You just know that if you're out here fighting and traveling with your armor on, it's really uncomfortable.
We're all just
Hmm.
marinating.
Yes. And not to mention, your body sweat seems to attract mosquitoes and whatnot. So you guys are constantly,
Bug repellent,
yeah, you guys have
please.
that. If you want to use your bug repellent, if you guys have it in your inventory, you're welcome to apply it. That keeps all the mosquitoes from pestering you. And it's just basically a note. It just reminds me that I can't use that excuse to bother you. I would think the Tabaxi is kind of immune since you
Yeah,
have
that's what I
fur.
was thinking.
But the rest of you, if you're not accustomed to being outdoors, the bug repellent is definitely something you might want to consider. And it doesn't smell too good. It's kind of got a pine-like smell to it, kind of a citrusy, piney smell to it. It's almost got a chemical smell too. It's got some kind of sulfur or something in there. So it's not the most pleasant scent, but it's better than smelling body odor and getting bit up by mosquitoes.
Smells better than we do, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm gonna have
Go ahead.
Blue kind of, staked out near the horse,
Mhm.
and so he can get some plants and eat them,
Okay.
maybe some bugs.
Okay. Can you roll an animal handling check, please?
And the other thing I had wanted to do from that, who was it, Gorn, was I wanted to ask him for some tips on training my
Okay.
training Blue.
Okay. That's something you want to do when you go back?
Well, I had wanted to do it back then, but I didn't get a chance. But that's what I want to try to work with him so he can give me tips since he's so knowledgeable.
Okay. After a few hours of travel, you notice that the land is getting softer and it's gently sloping down into a little gully. So you imagine that the fen is not far away, and the amount of insects and mosquitoes are kind of indicative of that. And the sound of frogs and crickets and nocturnal animals gets louder. So it is getting darker. There is a little bit of sun, like twilight, or some light left, and it is basically a really pleasant, clear evening, although it is fairly humid. And I'm going to share a map as you guys kind of get closer to the frog section. So, let's see. So this is basically the little swamp thing. And I'm going to put your party members on the southern edge. So I'd like you guys to, I don't know see if you can move your tokens. I don't remember if I locked them or not. No, I didn't. Let me unlock them. Okay, they're unlocked now. Go ahead and move them anywhere south of that bush or that big tree that's in the way. So anywhere in that pathway, you guys can move your tokens. And what you have here is this creek, this forked creek kind of trickling into the pond area. And that's what those two waterways are. And there's a big rock that's sticking out that's kind of like an anchor point for this little peninsula that you're on. And you can go across the river and the creek by making an athletics check. And it's not very, very fast moving. And there's really, on either side, there's these waterfall things that's basically coming off the river or the creek to the south, and it's kind of trickling down. These are very lazy waterfalls, and it's a very gentle slope that goes into the swamp. And then the swamp goes deeper and deeper into the jungle. So this is kind of like the very beginning of the swamp area. So you guys can hear this water kind of trickling into the pond area. You see these big, large lily pads with big purple flower-like things on them, and it's really, really beautiful. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like almost like a nature reserve. How nice it is.
Mm.
There's all kinds of frogs that you can hear. And as you guys get closer, the frogs tend to jump as they're, as you guys get closer. So you can hear little splashes going on in the water.
Can I try to use stealth?
You can. So I'm gonna describe kind of, what types of, your environment's gonna be like here.
Cute
And
little frogs.
you can see the little frogs showing up as you're getting close to this area. Let's see. Okay, so there's all these little frogs, and they're all over the place, and they just basically come and go as you guys approach. So they're like all over the place. And technically, what these frogs are for is for the the races that are going to happen. But they're also a way for you guys to kind of connect with nature. Gives you guys a chance to explore. You guys are usually in town or nearby, so this is kind of like a little adventure for you guys outside of what you normally do. So it is kind of interesting. If you've never been here before, it is definitely one of those places that you'd like to visit again, provided you don't get eaten up.
Little hidden gem.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nature reserve if you're into that.
So is all this area here,
Water.
that's water?
And there's a little trickling amount of water coming through that mossy tree on the left and right. It's kind of like a little waterfall. So this is the grotto, basically. And there's a trail that leads down, or like a roadish kind of trail that leads down here. So obviously this has been an area where people have collected water before it goes into the swamp. But the right at the edge where that rock is, there's a lot of kind of slow moving water. You probably wouldn't want to collect water there. It's kind of getting scummy. So I'm going to lock the tokens. And you guys see the tabaxi is already across the water, kind of hiding in the brush. You don't see them, but you know he's over there. And have you guys been able to size the map already to your liking?
Yeah.
I did. But are the frogs still there?
Yeah, they're still there, but they're kind of coming and going as you approach.
Oh.
They're
Okay.
hopping in and out of the water. And they're kind of, when you move up to them, they kind of get scared. So remember that Grund had mentioned to look for good-sized frogs. So no tadpoles, and he needs about 12 of them. They should be fairly healthy and natural. And if you can get all 12, within a reasonable amount of time, he's definitely going to reward you for all that you bring back. So it's important to keep that in mind as you catch the frogs during this time of the evening. And if it takes longer, then the likelihood of the frogs being available is going to get less, and your chance for a negative encounter will get greater. So the more you dilly-dally, the more you're going to have to call upon your pally to help you guys.
So what would be, so is it up to us how we catch it, what
Yep.
skill we use kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. There are
Okay.
some rules, and I'll explain this to you. So you need to try and capture 12 frogs without being harmed. So you got to capture them without hurting them. You can use spells or equipment, perhaps maybe the nets, or, those things. If you can't capture the frogs in a certain amount of time, you take back the ones that you do capture, and then that'll work too. So basically, you need to do things in a certain order. So I'd like all of you to make a perception check on each one of your turns to see if you can find any frogs. And if you capture the frogs, there will be other rules that apply.
Okay.
So there's a lot here to this frog thing. And if you have night vision or, dark vision, you have advantage.
All right, let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, so let's re-roll initiative. And that's the order that we're going to go into.
And this gnome is not very fast at all.
Okay, Tabaxi. So you're kind of hiding out. Can you roll a stealth check, please? Okay. So straight away, you look over and you see a frog resting on the rock. So let me reveal that one. So he's right there on the rock, and he doesn't notice you. Do you have night vision or dark vision?
Yeah.
Okay. So either way,
Dark vision.
okay. So you'll have advantage because of the lighting. And now that you've seen the frog, I need you to just tell me or describe how exactly you're going to go about approaching him and capturing him.
Okay. What I'd like to do is I'd like to use my cantrip to cast a little illusion. I'm not sure if it will be prestidigitation or minor illusion. And I want to kind of create right above him, but a little bit away from me, a little illusion of some things that look like little flies or something, or insects swarming around that he might be interested in.
Okay.
Kind of trying to keep them.
Can you draw a little circle or a square whereabouts you want to place it? So this is going to take a bit because there's a lot of little rules and things to check on.
Maybe right there.
Okay. So the frog is looking in that direction. I'm going to see if he takes the bait, so to speak.
All right.
Okay. So the frog is interested, although he doesn't seem to be moving, but he is watching the illusions.
Okay. Do I know how long or how far I can kind of use the net? How far do I need to be away to use the net?
The reach is still 5 feet. You have to get within 5 feet of it. And with the water and everything, it'll be if you move again, if you're trying to sneak up on them, you're going to have to roll stealth. But if you go into the water, it's going to be at disadvantage at some point. So you're going to be rolling stealth at disadvantage if you have to cross the water. Or if you try to jump, if you make your check, you might be able to jump across if provided you get the room and make it on the rock and then snatch them, if you end your turn next to him, that is.
Yeah, I guess I can use my ability to quickly move over there, but I won't be able to move the next turn. Maybe just take my advantage away.
Yep. So just roll a stealth check in the dice tower, please. Okay, so you get up there, you run across, and you splash a little bit on the water just on the edge of the rock, and the frog sees you and jumps 10 feet away into the water.
All
So,
right, and I'll end my turn.
so it's probably going to end up moving away. Okay.
So I see the tabaxi
Mm-hmm.
can't be fast enough to get this frog.
Okay.
And although I'm very athletic, I'm thinking to myself, there's just no way that we're going to be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So she looks back at the rest of the party and says, "Hey, who's got the tea?"
Mm. Did any of you think to brew the tea?
That's what I'm just going to brew the tea. I'm asking who has it.
Oh, okay. Well, you all should have a
Don't we all
bundle of
have
it.
some tea?
Yeah. You
Oh,
all
we
should.
all have a bundle?
Yeah. You can brew your own, but you have to start a little fire, and basically that would take a little bit.
Would that
So
take my turn?
oh
Pretty
yeah,
much?
it would take your turn, and maybe you'd have to roll a d4. That would imply that you got enough wood, and they're able to start it. All that. So that's how many turns it'll take. How many rounds, I should say.
All right, so we for sure want to brew some of this tea. So would everyone have to brew their own, or like, can I brew enough for everyone?
It would be for yourself.
Okay, then
If
that's what
they
I'm
want
gonna
to
do.
give you their tea to brew, then you just say so.
No, I'm just gonna brew my own tea. Or can I brew it where I was?
Yeah, you can start a
Okay.
little campfire there, but roll a d4 in the open, and that's how many turns you're going to end up missing, or how many rounds. So it's taking you 4 rounds to basically get enough wood, get your stuff out to start the campfire thing, and then that will be basically how long it takes.
Okay, so question is, once I start this fire, can everyone brew their tea on this fire?
Yes. I need you to roll
Done.
a survival check, though. So if you roll a survival check and you make it, you're successful. If not, you don't find enough wood to burn.
Okay, chat or tower?
Tower, please. Oh, yeah. You find enough dry sticks, and you start the fire, no problem. And you even find a piece of wood that you dry out as it's, starting. So you're just getting enough heat to brew the tea with your mess kit. Okay. So, that is that. Next is Hamster.
Right, I'm gonna have a look around, see if I can spot any more frogs.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
Is it still nighttime?
Yep.
Just to let you know, I haven't got dark vision, so will be rolling at disadvantage.
Yes.
I got a campfire going.
Yeah, but they're not near the campfire. So let me see. I'm going to draw the radius of the light. Let's see. I'm going to put the radius. So that's the radius of the campfire, basically. Anything outside that is dim light, so it's hard to see. Anything in there would be normal vision. Anything outside would be disadvantage.
Okay, I'll look around the general area where there's light. That makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good.
Okay. So you take a look around. The only frog you see is the one that's in front of the tabaxi. So you're kind of disheartened. You're like, this is going to suck. But you're fairly quick. So if you do see one, you'll be able to grab it. So if you want to move or get a better advantage or perhaps think of another strategy, you're welcome to.
Okay, I am going to move up to these bushes and I'm gonna light a torch and I'm gonna stick it in the ground near the bushes so
Okay.
it hopefully traps moths so
Okay.
they'll draw the frogs
Okay.
to the torch.
There you go. That's actually pretty clever. Can you roll a survival check, please?
Hey Doki, dice tower again.
Yep. All right. So you have this torch thing set up here, and you're just going to wait for frogs to come to the moths to come to the area, and then hopefully some frogs will show up in that radius.
Hopefully so.
Okay. I need you to roll a d4, just like she did, to come up with a way to capture these things. Okay, so again, it's going to take you 4 rounds before you're going to get anything going, for the frogs to start showing up. So that implies that the moths are gathering and the bugs to lure them to you. So what do you want to do in the meantime? Do you want to hide? You want to just sit there quietly and observe? I mean, do you have anything you want to perform?
I will probably try and hide. So I'm gonna
Okay.
click on my.
All right. So go ahead and do stealth. And I'm assuming you're hiding behind something. Okay. That works.
Yeah, I'll be hiding those bushes just here.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mez.
I got
Okay.
skipped.
Who got skipped? Oh, the half elf, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna look for some other frogs.
Okay. Go ahead and roll perception. And you have advantage. Or at least it's canceled out. I mean, you don't have to have disadvantage.
Yeah, I do have dark vision.
Okay.
In the tower.
Yep. Okay. So that is basically, you basically peer around and you are looking to see, what's out there. And just beyond the torch, you notice 4 frogs on a lily pad. And they are right across from where the other frogs were.
Okay.
So let me
Make
show
my
you.
way over that way.
Hold on a sec here. Okay. Yeah, there's 4 frogs on a lily pad. And let me see. Yep. So there they are. There's the 4 of them. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger so they're easier to see. Okay. So go ahead and move. So you're going to move?
Something happened in the
Mm-hmm.
paladin got in the way.
Okay. You could still move around the paladin, but go ahead and move again.
Okay, we go there.
You can't, well, you can move 25 feet because you're going to be cutting right through that bush. So you kind of have to go around it. But I'll just go ahead and approve it this time. It's kind of a bushy tree thing, but that's fine.
Okay.
You're kind of a nature boy, so you can go through it. Okay.
And I'm just gonna be cautious as I'm approaching because
Okay.
I'm looking for trouble, not just for frogs.
Right. So there's 2 frogs basically on the rocks.
I think that's as far as I can move, so that'll do it for my turn.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you guys hear some splashing near this log across the pond. And there is, let's see, another splash that you guys hear near the shore of the opposite shore. Okay, Mez.
Okay. Think what I'm going to do is make my way across to the other side. How much do you say the river would take off movement? Just to go through it.
Yeah, you want to go around the bush if you're going to move through stuff. And you only lose 5 feet if you go through it.
Okay.
And the water will slow you down. So you're going to lose 10 feet from the water.
Okay. Okay, so if I'm going to use my normal amount of speed and then dash to try and get to the other side.
Okay. So that'll work.
I should. Is that too much? I should have 50
Yeah,
minus 10.
I think you're okay.
Yeah.
That'll work.
I'm just
Okay.
going to have a look for frogs.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your perception, please.
With advantage as well, I've got dark vision.
Yes. And you're out of that light, so. Okay. So you notice 2 frogs on the rocks as well. They are close to the tabaxi. And they're represented by the frogs. That 1 frog represents 2.
Okay. Well, I think that'd be it for now, but yes.
Okay. Okay. So the lizard he is basically hanging out around the back there. He's not doing much. But he's back there. He's kind of looking at the vegetation. The boar is kind of pacing back and forth on the trail. Okay, Tabaxi. Let's see what you got. 2 frogs
My
in front of you.
perception.
Yep,
I
go
see
ahead.
him.
Go ahead and roll perception. I mean, they're already kind of in your vision. Okay. You notice that they're getting ready to move over towards the flies.
Okay. So can I, from where I am, try to cast my net and see if I can catch them both?
Yep, with advantage because you're using the net.
And what do I roll?
Just roll a strength check or athletics, and that
Athletic.
will basically simulate you casting out the net quickly and trying to scoop them up.
Would acrobatics work?
I would want a description, but I don't have a
The
problem.
The net is in my weapons thing.
Mm-hmm.
Could we just do an attack?
Yeah, you can do an attack roll if that's
Oh,
what it is.
okay.
If you have it equipped.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Lady Shel did say that that was going to be like a weapon, so it's easier to figure it out. So if you make the attack, I'm not sure. I don't see. You didn't. Did you drag it to the frogs?
I will.
All right. So you kind of flick that thing out there really quick, and you're able to scoop the frogs up. So you have 2 frogs. So
Yay!
put a note on your sheet of the frogs. I should have probably made a checklist, but that's fine. Go ahead and just notate that mentally or on your notes that you have 2 frogs. So that takes
Okay.
care of those guys. So frogs on rocks is done. Okay, anything else?
I'm gonna not use my move so I can regain my ability to do that. Double my movement if I need.
Okay.
I'll end my turn.
All right. All right, Dwarvesy. Skipping your turn.
I'm cooking it, man.
All right. So another. Let's see. Where did that go? Okay. So there's some frogs across the way on the rocks that Mez had noticed earlier. It's up to the north, kind of by the log. There's a couple more frogs over there. They just jump up on the rocks. Let's see. Okay, hamster. You are hiding. If you want to move, you're going to have to re-roll your stealth check. Other than that, you need to stay put.
I am going to be very patient. And why I'm being very patient, I'm going to pull out a lizard on the stick I caught earlier and start chewing on it.
So you're bunching while you're
Oh
waiting.
my god.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So Ranger, so you're at the edge of the pond, near the rock where the tabaxi is. Go ahead and roll perception.
Oops, missed. Hold on.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. You notice that the frogs jumped up onto that rock over to the top right, where it says Frogs on Rocks 1. And you also see the ones on the lily pad.
Okay. How deep's this water?
I would say just enough to where you can't touch the bottom. It's not super deep. I'd say maybe 10 feet. It's kind of murky and scummy. Brownish, green, kind of filled with alga and a bunch of little critters.
Okay, swampy. You can't really see down into it.
Mm-mm. So you'll have to swim if you go into the pond area. The river or the creek thing you can kind of run across. That's no more than, a couple feet. But as it drops down into that little grotto, it's like a drop off past that rock.
Okay, I'm gonna head on over to there.
Okay.
Kind of do it a pincer around these guys.
Okay. Now remember, you guys can use spells or whatever if creatively, if you guys have any thoughts about that. But I like the idea you're using strategy to kind of surround them. Anything else?
Yeah. It says ensnaring strike you have to hit a creature. So I couldn't do an ensnaring strike with an arrow next to where the frogs are to ensnare them.
No.
Okay.
It's a good idea,
that's
but
about
I
all.
don't think it's going to work that way. I don't want to.
Okay,
I
that's
don't
about
want
all
to.
got for
I
now.
liked how you thought, but I don't think I can go for that.
Yeah. All right. That's about all I got for right now.
Okay. Okay. Frog on a log. Okay.
Frog on a log sounds like Roops' lunch.
Frog on a log. Frog, frog, frog. Okay. So there's 4 frogs or 3 frogs on the log.
Bud.
So they just jumped up there. So there's 3 up there. Frog on shore. Frog on shore. Where are you? I don't even see it. Where are you, frog on shore? There you are.
Ah.
So there's one frog on the shore. It just hopped up out of the water.
Great.
Mez,
Okay.
all kinds of targets.
Mm. Okay, at first I'm going to move up to the edge of the water.
Okay.
Then I'm going for a bonus action. I'm going to use Misty Step to travel to the log here.
Sneaky little bastard.
It's a
Sneaky.
great use for a second level spell.
What do you have?
Um,
What's the spell?
Misty Step.
Oh, yeah.
Misty Step.
Nice. So in a puff, little Mez appears right on the log. So you have a couple choices. If you had more movement, you could get the ones on the log.
I think
If
I used 15 or 20, didn't I?
yep, use 15, but that doesn't count the jump. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
still
so I
have
should
10
still have
feet.
10. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'll try and sneak up on this one and go for the ones on the log.
Okay. Roll stealth, and if you make it, you will gain advantage on your attack.
Go, Mez, go.
Okay. So make your attack roll with the net with advantage. You just snuck right up there. That was very clever. You missed. It looks so good. You cast
So
your
good
net
until
out
the end.
and you missed. You like try to swamp down on them and missed. Damn it.
They're fast.
They are. Okay. Lizards. Just kind of hanging out. I think I'm going to remove the lizard and the boar. Because
That's fine.
they're really not.
Yeah, I'm not using boar right now.
Yeah. They're there, but they're not.
Rilbus, I swear to Moradin, if that lizard eats one of these frogs, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Tabaxi.
Okay. Let's see. The half elf ranger is gonna. There's one frog over there on the shore.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Could cast sleep on him. Ranger could pick him up, and then I could also make my move.
Right.
You could cast sleep on a whole bunch of them, couldn't you?
Yeah,
I'll
people
have
over
that
by where
many.
Mez is. These guys can't have that many hit
Yeah.
dice.
Yeah, you roll like a something like a 2d4 or something or 4d4
Yeah, you
and that
roll.
many hit die.
Yep. They're right. So depending on how many
Yeah.
hit points they have is how many you put to sleep, and you just have to draw the radius.
I can put more than one, huh?
Mm-hmm. As
Well, you
long
could
as
probably put a lot more.
as long as you have the radius, yes.
Okay, creatures within feet of the point I choose.
So where you're going to center
Okay.
it?
Now it says creatures. Does that include party
Yes.
members? I think.
Yes, it does.
Good night, Miz.
To-
Too bad I'm not a elf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I could.
But you would probably have a good save, Mez.
Okay.
And
So
I
you're
can bless you.
Yeah. So what it will be?
I don't know if it's 20-foot radius, so I don't know if I'll be able to get more than 2 groups.
Draw your circle. So right-click on the map, click on pointers, and draw the circle just off to the side, and then drag it where you want to center it. You do that by clicking on the map and stretching it. Yep. Now move that in place where you want it to affect by grabbing the center of it, where the 20 is. There should be a center point.
That.
Yep. All right.
Just cast asleep.
Yep. Now you need to roll the dice read the spell, and you need to roll dice, and that'll determine how many are put to sleep, depending on how much you roll.
5d8. Okay.
Yes.
Damn.
So roll it
That's how many hit
openly in
points.
the chat. So right-click on the 8-sided, and then select the number of dice, and then drop it into the chat. So up to 16 points worth of froggies. So let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 12. So you have basically frogs on the lily pad, which is 4. So put 4 more on your sheet.
Okay.
So those are gone. And frogs on the rocks is probably like 2. Yeah, so you got 2 more.
Nice. So you just got 6 frogs.
Yep. And then Mez needs to make a saving throw.
I have 8 frogs altogether.
I
Mhm.
know.
Yep. So is there a saving throw for the sleep?
I don't think there is.
It just says, okay, oh, no, actually it doesn't affect Mez because he's used it all on the frogs. So never mind, Mez.
Okay.
Because it's only 16 points worth of hit
Mez
points.
does a half yawn.
Yep. So you're pretty much golden there, Tabaxi. Now you just gotta
Yay.
move or stay or whatever.
Well, I think I'm going to move maybe so I can find some other ones.
Okay.
I'll move over there and see what I can perceive.
Okay. If you're gonna use your regular movement, you will be in the water. You'll have to swim,
Mhm.
and you're only allowed to move half your movement rate.
Oh, I see.
So
How far can I jump?
I don't think you could jump 30 feet, but it's
All right. You know what? I'll just stay on this rock and move a little closer, and I'll let our friend over there spot him for me.
okay. So go ahead and move. Yep. So you move right into where your illusion was.
Yep.
And you can go ahead and right click on the map, click on the arrow again, and then remove pointers, all of them. So that'll get rid of your square or your circles that you drew. And don't forget to check your guys' spells off when you use them. All right, thank you. Okay, Paladin, you're still
like
cooking.
I know, my buddies look like they got everything well in hand. So I'm gonna kick up my feet and just keep prodding the fire and cooking my tea.
We're gonna have them caught by the time the tea's ready.
Okay, half elf.
It's scapped hamster.
Frogs on shore. You see one.
Okay. Keeping an eye out for any other danger.
Roll perception. Okay, you look down into the water as you're standing on the edge, and you notice that there's some baby alligators in the water that jump down into the water when you reach the shore. So where there's babies, there's large ones. So you know
Okay.
to be cautious.
Gators around.
Okay. So go ahead and tell me what you would like to do. You can sneak up
And-
on the frog, and if you make it, you'll
Yeah.
get advantage. If not, it's just a regular attack roll with a net.
I'm gonna sneak.
Okay. So you can move 15 feet, and your armor has betrayed you. And as you get close, you hear this clink, and the frog starts to jump. So go ahead and make a regular attack roll without advantage. And you missed. So the frog is
Stupid
going to
armor.
move away. Frog on the log is going to try to get away. So he moves 20
Are there
feet.
2 there?
Yeah, but you get whoever Mez gets a attack of opportunity because they're moving
Nice.
away. So Mez, you have a chance to grab them because they kind of turn around and trying to jump into the water. So if you go up to the top of the top right corner of the interface, you'll see this plus or minus button.
Mm-hmm.
You click on opportunity for attack.
Yep.
And then go ahead and make an attack roll on the frogs before they leave your reach.
See if I can redeem myself.
Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
Sweet. So you got those.
Way to go.
Swoop.
So frog on the log, that is 3. So add 3 to your sheet.
You got the Budweiser frogs.
Yep.
One more frog.
Where was that plus button you were talking about for the attack opportunity?
You can. There's a shortcut key, but if you don't know what the shortcut key is, go up to the top right of the interface. There's plus and minus. That's a modifier box, and you look. There's attack, cover, superior cover. It's opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that was your attack of opportunity. So frog on the log is gone.
And down. 3 to go.
I thought we have 12. I thought we have 11. Because you
Anybody
have
else
8,
catch
right?
any?
And he just caught 3.
Mm-hmm. Got one more.
He
Yeah,
got
you got
3 or
on the
1?
log. 3.
Oh, okay.
So frog
So we
on
got the
You got the
shore
Budweiser frogs.
is going to try to move into the water, but the half elf gets a attack of opportunity.
It's up to you, man.
Where? I still don't see where that plus was.
The plus or minus button is on the very top of the interface on the right corner. There's a button there that says plus or minus. It's just a symbol.
I see it. Okay.
If you open that up, you'll see a button called opportunity. You want to click on that, and then you're going to drag your attack roll with your net onto the frog token. If you miss, they go into the water. Or it goes into the water.
Why is it not rolling?
You have to drag your attack roll onto the token.
On the frog.
It should highlight. So when you drag your attack, it should highlight and say frog. There you go.
Got it.
Ah, nice. So add that to your
Woohoo!
total. So you guys have completed in 3 rounds. You were able to capture these guys, maybe maximum of 4. So within 4 rounds, you guys were able to capture the frogs. So that's really good. Anything else you guys want to do while you're here? You can collect water from the stream as long as you don't do it next to the swamp. You can go fishing if you like, and you can camp here if you wish. You already got a campfire and some tea going, but unfortunately that tea would be keeping you up all night. So you didn't waste your tea, you just got the water hot, and you're getting ready to brew it and said, hell with it.
I
would
call
recommend
Yeah, don't need it.
here.
What's that?
over
I'd
to the dwarf paladin while gnomes and tabaxi toil, a watch potion pot never boiled.
Ha 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 ha.
I recommend
And I
the
chuckle.
here.
Well,
All right.
I'm,
Let's
setting
camp
my-
here.
You guys want to camp there? You can do a long rest, and I'll roll.
Do some fishing.
Yeah. If you do some fishing, it'd be like a survival check.
Cool.
And if you make the survival check, you can capture a catfish or a baby alligator.
Nice.
Or a couple piranhas.
More pets.
Pit alligator.
Do the you said it was a survival check?
Yep. Survival check in the dice tower. So you stick your pole out in the water or some sort of contraption. You don't really have a fishing pole, but you make up some kind of makeshift bait. Maybe you use one of the meat that the I don't know if the halfling would give up his food, but you find something like maybe an insect that they're attracted to, and you dangle this kind of string vine thing in the water, and you're able to pull out a catfish.
Nice.
And it's not a small one, it's pretty good size. I want to say it's about as long as your forearm. And you're able to throw it in a bucket where the frogs are, or in somebody's empty bucket.
Yeah. Keep a little water and keep it alive. Maybe we'll bring it back, see what we get for it.
All right. So the rest of you, any kind of activities you would like to do other than fishing and trying to keep bugs off of you? And surprisingly, Paladin, that bug repellent's working really good, and you're happy that you guys were able to capture the frogs. But you may not be so happy about staying in the woods. I don't know how you feel about that. I can't tell you how you feel, but it is humid still.
Now, if we want to go, are we gonna? We need to take these frogs back to the city, right?
Yep, but it is getting
We
dark.
could just go. So sitting here in the dark, is it pretty much the same as traveling
Yep,
back to the city in the dark?
yep. Because
No,
at
because
least,
here we have a campfire.
yeah, you have a campfire. You're not moving and making a bunch of noise. And generally, dinosaurs and nocturnal animals don't want anything to do with torches and light. At least the ones that,
Firelight.
yeah, so at least the ones that hunt at night. Now, if it was a big dinosaur, they may not care if they're hungry enough. But if it was something small or man-sized, they'd probably hide out on the periphery of the campfire.
Okay, I don't mind staying out in the woods.
Okay. So why don't you guys go ahead and move your tokens? I don't care about how far you move them. Just move them to where you're going to be standing.
Where's that campfire at?
Near me.
So it's near the paladin. Yep. Okay, so you guys are all gathered around. You have a catfish that you can clean and eat if you wish. You have a nice fire going now. You've managed to dry out some more wood as you're burning, and it makes a really pungent, smoky aroma and mist, so it keeps the bugs at bay. So that's one nice thing about it. I would like you guys all to roll a survival check in the dice tower, and this will determine how well you sleep and if you have any problems with the environment.
Sorry, wrong one.
Survival.
Yep. Wow, you guys have all rolled fairly well. Go ahead and let me see. I'm gonna give you guys a long rest. You guys had no issues, even with the bugs crawling all over you. And
Does Boar get a long rest too?
yes, I should. I'll fix his thing. I have to do it manually because he wasn't on the combat tracker. So all of you have rested. It's early in the morning. It is dawn. The day is new. The ponies are near. And you guys are ready to set off. It's actually really beautiful. You can see where you guys are running around at night, and you're kind of glad that you got lucky, because if you would have ventured out, there's a big crocodile on the other side of that log. and then there's some other frogs that were basically all over the shoreline. You were hard to see because of the lighting. And then there's a really large amount of piranhas sitting around the edge, off the edge of that rock. So, I would say kudos to you
Nice.
guys for getting through that challenge. Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So we probably ought to get back as soon as possible to get these frogs back.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're still fresh and
Break camp and ride out.
And I need you guys to roll, all of you need to roll a perception check. Okay. So the tabaxi, you notice something strange glistening from one of the frogs. Just happens to capture the corner of your eye. You're pretty much attracted to shiny things. And you happen to notice something sparkling from one of the captured frogs. The frogs are still alive, hopping around the bucket. They can't really jump out unless you knock the bucket over. And you guys have something, probably the net, sitting on top of the bucket so they can't move. So,
I take a closer look.
okay. So you go down and you look inside, and there's some kind of shiny implement inside of one of the frogs in its mouth.
I very carefully, so as not to harm the frog, try to remove this implement.
Okay. So you kind of look around and you kind of pull on this implement from the frog, and you notice that you find a signet ring. And it's lying in the mud after you examine the frog.
I pick it up.
Okay. It says, engraved on it is the letters CC, like 2 capital C's. And it looks like whoever owned it, it was a rich or semi-wealthy person, because the signet ring isn't cheap. It's like a really, really fine silver, and it has a stone.
I'm a noble,
Mhm.
so do I recognize it or can I do a history check on it?
Sure. So you're like, what did you find there?
Tell them.
Okay, you see that CC on there. So I think that you would probably be looking at somebody who may or may not have come through the town, and you're trying to go through your head as to what are those initials all about. So you're not, it's on the tip of your tongue, but you haven't made the connection yet. So I'm not saying you don't know, but you can't remember
Right.
at this time.
Okay.
So that's how I'm going to rule it. So any questions on that?
I put it in my notes. I said, I was going to say my precious. Yeah, maybe we can find the owner of this and reap a great reward. Can I try to just try it on, see what happens?
Sure. So you take your clawed finger, and it kind of fits loosely on your finger, but it does fit. Your fur kind of keeps it in place.
You
Very
could always
shiny
try,
bauble.
Could always try kissing the frog.
Who?
That's a
Are you
great
gonna
idea.
Are you gonna kiss the frog?
If I do it, I'll probably end up trying to eat it.
I've not heard that euphemism before.
I tell him. I tell the rogue.
He's
You
got
can
it right
kiss
up
him
to
through
his
the
mouth.
net,
He's got
but
it
no
right up.
tongue.
He's got it
No
right
tongue.
up to his face. And It is cool.
I'm really trying hard not to take a bite out of it, so I'll give it a kiss.
Okay. So through the net, you kiss the frog, and it does this big croak, and it just kind of flops around like kind of uncomfortably, like "Don't kiss me," and nothing happens, unfortunately, except for a half dissolved, half eaten fly rolls out on the end of its tongue after you back away from it.
Gonna
I
get
say,
into
I
your
say,
tongue.
kiss it, kiss it.
Well, he did kiss it, and
No, the fly.
the fly rolls out on the end of the frog's tongue as if it's giving it up.
You kissed it and it
He's
barked.
daring.
He's gonna pee on
I
your
think
hand
you
if you
could
keep
do
that
a
up.
bit salt and pepper on it.
Salt and pepper?
Back away. Go
Okay.
eat your lizards.
Okay. So you're kind of just like, okay, let me find the salt and pepper. So do you take the fly?
No, I'm talking about the frog. Like, after I kissed it, I think so. Do a bit of salt and pepper to make it taste a little bit better.
Oh my god. So he's breaking out his eating utensils?
Nope,
And
nope,
The
nope. We are
frog
taking the
raised
bucket
his
and getting on the pony.
okay.
I say there was an old halfling that swallowed a fly. I don't know why he swallowed a fly. Perhaps he'll die.
He's gonna die if he eats any of these frogs. Let's mount up.
Okay. So you guys mount up. The day is, starting to, the sun is coming up. It's beautiful. You guys had a fairly decent camping trip out in the wilderness. And now it will only take you a few hours to get back since you're familiar with the way and there's more light. So it doesn't take all day to get back. You get back before lunchtime and you are back at Pickled Pete's. So I'm going to share that map, or you guys can bring up your maps that I had you make a shortcut of.
This is
Pickled
Lozano.
Pete's. Pickled Pete's.
We're at Pickle Pete's. Is this just a tap? Oh, it's a tap. It's an inn also. Yes.
Yeah. So it's that thing.
That was a big inn.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of the bigger buildings in town. The Lozano map is just kind of a representation of it, but this is the actual interior. And your friend there, he's in the back, behind the bar. So let me put you guys on the map. And your pets and things are outside.
Okay.
So go ahead and move your tokens where you guys would like to sit or stand.
Where can I go to have a bath?
Good question.
That's what I
You-
go to. Where's the bar? There's the bar.
Can you guys move them?
Hey, who's delivering the frogs?
Good question. Because Grund will want to see them.
Well, somebody can, all except we can't let Hamster get his hands on.
So you guys
I
are
turn to
all.
the barkeeper and
Uh-huh.
say, can I get a room with a bath? I don't need it for too long. I just need a bath.
He kind of looks at you and says, "Yeah, we can draw you some hot water." And he says, "How did it go with the frogs?"
Well, we got some here for you.
All right.
They're the best frog catchers I have ever seen.
I'm at the far end of the bar, licking my lips, eyeballing them.
All right. So here's Grund behind the bar. And he's kind of looking at the bucket. He looks very pleased. And he says, "You've done it. You've saved my the games." And he looks really happy with you guys. And he's all excited. He hurries up and he takes the bucket and he says, "I'll be right back." And so he takes it back behind the bar, somewhere in a room behind. and he gets all excited. He goes to a side door and he comes back out, and he has something in his hand for you guys for your hard work. He wants to make sure that you guys are compensated because you guys did a great job. So he's really excited. He's like, "You guys are fantastic. What would we do without you?" And he basically he looks for the closest member of the party, and he hands you guys some paper, some kind of papers, and on the papers are meal ticket vouchers and some tickets. So I'm going to drag this parcel into the party sheet, okay?
Okay.
And this will give you access. So those are the tickets and the vouchers. So when you use the voucher, it basically just gives you the ability to bypass any costs. So room and board,
Okay.
your bath and shower, all that stuff is covered. You can also
Nice.
stay the night at the inn, and you're welcome to any meals provided it's reasonable. So in other words, you have a drink and meal that's free. But if you order a whole bunch of alcohol, then you're gonna have to pay for it. So as long as it's reasonable and it's not, ridiculous. So he'll pay for a round of drinks and a meal and maybe even breakfast. So
I asked him if he knows of anybody who'd be interested in a fine cat.
he says, "Well, let's see what you got." And you got that bucket with that flopping fish in there. It's almost too small. The bucket's almost too small to contain the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And the fish is kind of on its last legs. I mean, there's still water in there and stuff, but he can't really swim too well in there.
Right.
So he's still kind of gasping for air. Luckily, he's kind of a catfish. So they're pretty hardy. They can kind of go out of water anyways, so they can
Yep.
survive in mud. So he's flopping around in there with his big whiskers. He looks at that thing and says, "Hot damn!" And he yells to his crew, "Looks like catfish is on the menu tonight, boys and girls." So he's really happy. But he says, as part of your parcel that you get, for your treasure, basically as part of your voucher, I have vegetable soup. I have some yummy bread pudding, um, food, fruit and cheese platter, and apple pie, and all kinds of yummy stuff. So, any of those things appeal to you, those are on the menu for this evening and this afternoon, minus the catfish, of course.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll spend the
That sounds
afternoon
delicious.
at Pickle Pete's.
All right, so I'm going to give
Can
you
I have the
guys.
key to a room, please?
Yes, he gives you a key, and you guys are able to um, kind of rest up. Anything you guys want to do, to basically kind of fix yourselves up, bathe, clean your bodies, get rid of all that sweat.
Yeah, can I have my armor scraped from
Sure.
the swamp scraped off my armor?
Yeah, you can get someone to
I'm
clean
a
it for
noble.
you. Yeah.
I got a rep to protect.
All right. So I think we're going to have to call it for adventure
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you
Okay,
guys
well,
a
we got
short.
2 encounters, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That was great.
There's actually 2 more. I'm not going to give it away in case we run it again, but
Okay.
it's something that is going to take a little bit more practice than I had imagined, and also there's a little tweaks and things that we have to make. I think the frog thing could be a little bit smoother, so we'll give Shelly feedback on that. And then some of the coding on the character sheets, we want to update those, but I'll talk to
Yeah.
her outside of the game on that. But I want to thank all of you for showing up. Any of you in the chat that have joined us for this tester teaser. This wasn't meant to be played out all the way through necessarily. And I think, to be honest, if we continued the game, we're probably looking at another 2 hours potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a more interesting encounters after this. There's a couple more. So I think I will talk to Shel about working on time and pace. You can't anticipate what the group's going to do. I like the interaction that you guys had, and some of the events were pretty amusing. If you guys had to pick an MVP, who would that be in this in this game? So one person out of the
Roasted.
okay.
Oh, Rilvis was definitely the MVP on that frog catching.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got some good skills there.
Okay.
I've got to regale the realist as well with his singing as well.
So you guys did really well. I appreciate you guys coming, and I want to do more of these as people in our community develop their products. So today we were able to showcase a little bit of Rob Tui's effects coding. Um, we also showcased She-Hob's money exchanger. We showcased Lady Shell's module, and also all the tokens that were made for her and that she had commissioned. Most of those were made by Devon Knight, and the maps were made by Mopsy, who's a community member as well. So just
Yep.
about everything in here was created by our community, which
Very
is really
nice.
cool.
That is really
That's
cool.
pretty.
So I'm very happy about this. And what really makes me happy is that all of you have taken classes and you've graduated. You did pretty good. I mean, in the adventure, I didn't have too many issues. I had a few issues on my end, which I need to work on. But as far as learning, teaching, and getting some experience, did we supply that to you guys today? Was that
Oh
satisfactory?
yeah, definitely.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
did a
agree.
great job.
Always learned a few things. Yeah.
Great.
I like the chemistry of this group. It's pretty good.
Yeah, see, that's another thing is, maybe in a different time, you guys can all get together and play in a different game together because you guys get
Definitely.
along. So that's cool. So that's kind of what you want to do in the college, right? You want to find the people you want to play with and start your own private games. And that's mission accomplished for me is that you guys are playing, you're comfortable, you're not fighting, you're all just kind of getting along and you're not struggling too much with the rules and how to play. So that's kind of the idea of the college is to bring that together. Also for people who are creative that want to create their own products and get those showcased, we can do that here in the future and we'll do more of it as time goes on. But I really like the contributions that the community has given us and the contributions we're able to show to the rest of you. So I'm pretty sure Lady Shell's been moderating the chat like crazy. She has the links for these products or these links to whatever websites they go to for advertisements. And I also like to thank Smiteworks for making this awesome game and for Twitch for allowing this technology to allow us to share and Discord for allowing us to communicate. So I'm going to sign off. If you guys want to say any final things or farewell, you're welcome to do so, and then I'll stop the stream.
Farewell.
Laters.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thanks all.
Thank you as well for the one shot.